One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet who millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
Is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
What's up, everybody? Getting ready for the Virginia rally. Today at 3 o'clock, Trump will take the stage. I'm checking in to make sure we don't miss anything. Glenn Youngkin just gave a great speech. Actually, he's still talking in a hot Virginia sun. So, today, we're back to normal. I can actually be on camera and show you stuff. Last night was pretty crazy, wasn't it? How you guys doing from that debate? Yeah, pretty nuts. And I also got all the electronics working, so yes, I will be able to, let me just check it. Boom, yes, the comments are flowing, everything's working. Sorry for some of the technical difficulties yesterday. We were trying to work around CNN's restrictions, and so it was kind of a bumpy thing. And then last night, the stream just crashed. I mean, we had 200,000 people. 200,000 people watched it. And when we did it yesterday, I gave away, let's see, what was it? 4 $100 Visa gift cards. So I'm going to go ahead and just let you know who these people are. I'll get pictures to make sure I post them. But Dorothy from Tennessee, Lita from Arizona, Jaden from, where's this? Minnesota, and Kristen from Texas are the 4 winners of the $100 gift cards. They'll be getting their notifications if they haven't gotten them momentarily or after this show. But those 4 were the 4 winners. Thank you guys, all who responded. Love it. Absolutely love it. Now, before we get to the Trump thing, I got to show you something. So Dementia Joe decided he was going to hold a rally in what amounts to half of a gym today, and he barely was able to put anybody in this gym. I'd say maybe 800 people, maybe 700, I don't know, but whatever he took yesterday, whatever the cocktail was that he put together, the concoction that they put forward, he's back to Angry Screamy Joe today. I mean, today on stage in North Carolina, he became Angry Screamy Crazy Joe again. So I got 38 seconds of clips here. You guys are going to love this. Listen to Angry Crazy Joe.
Donald Trump says he thinks overturning Roe v. Wade was a beautiful thing. Folks, I give you my word as a Biden, I would not be running again if I didn't believe.
So what he said was, I give my word as a Biden. Who cares what your word as a Biden is? Oh my God.
With all my heart and soul, I can do this job. Historic creation of small business in black and all communities across the nation, particularly in rural areas. As I stand here today, I can honestly say I've never been more optimistic about America's future in my whole career. 16 Nobel winners of the economics Nobel Prize. America bows to no one ever.
The dude's back to screaming Angry Joe today. Unreal. They put him up on stage. He didn't make it good for them yesterday, and he crapped out. Crapped out today. Nobody cares. Democratic Party's in shambles. Everything got lit up yesterday. Sirens went off. All kinds of bells and whistles. It's delicious. It is absolutely delicious watching these people completely melt down. So just so you know, I know there's a lot of talk out there about them replacing him. And I just want to let you know the absolute truth. Okay, here's the absolute truth. They can't replace him. Don't let anything you hear in the news tell you otherwise. There's no way they can replace him. For them to have another candidate, only one of two things would change. Either he would have to resign or say, I don't want to run anymore. So basically he would have to say, I don't want to do it. Or he'd have to die. Those are the only two ways. They can't change horses. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Those are the only two ways that they can get another candidate right now. He's going to have to agree to walk away, or he's going to have to die. Now, we know someone who might be able to arrange number two. You know, she's former Secretary of State who's got, well-known history of having a body count. I wouldn't want to be on her bad side of her and say, hey, Hillary, do me a favor. We can't get him to resign, but if he resigned or wasn't there, you would be our next pick, Hill. I got this. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of it. Ooh, don't wave that carrot in front of Hillary. But then they got another problem because today, report came out that Kamala, she ain't having it. She got the attitude going on. She got the black woman attitude. Ain't happening. I'm not gonna be stepped over. So maybe Hillary's gonna have to talk to her. Maybe she might need to get dealt with. I don't know. I don't know what they're gonna do. But just all kidding aside, there is no way to. Well, actually, there's a third way they could replace him. I'm sorry. There's a third way. Long shot. The third way is they would have to go through the 25th Amendment and boot him out. So they could do that and see if they could go through Congress and go through all that stuff and boot him out. But that would look so bad to the American people. They would just sit back and go, yeah, good luck with that. So, 25th Amendment, he'd have to resign or he would have to meet his demise. Those are the three ways. And it ain't like they're just going to say, hey, Gavin, take his place and run. Nope, can't happen. Can't happen. And they're also in quite the time crunch as well. I mean, a huge time crunch. I want to show you guys something. Let me make sure I can pull it up while we're waiting. They're talking about bringing in Big Mike. Ain't gonna happen, guys. None of that could happen. So here's a tweet by Charlie Kirk, and you guys are aware of who Charlie Kirk is. Let me just bring it up here, make sure I can show it without causing an issue. Go back to this screen. All right, this is a very interesting tweet by Charlie Kirk. There it is. This is big. It's likely already too late to remove Joe Biden from the ballot. In Wisconsin, it's already too late to remove him. Can't do it. Nevada, after tonight, the fourth Friday in June, it will be too late to remove Dementia Joe. 2 swing states. They won't be able to do anything. Georgia, there's only a few weeks remaining before it's too late to remove him from the ballot there. From the Daily Mail, the Heritage Oversight Project has set their sights on 3 contentious swing states where they believe taking Biden off the Democratic ticket would not allow anyone else to replace him. Georgia, Nevada, and Wisconsin. Wisconsin does not allow withdrawal from the ballot for any reason besides death. You get that? You can't change somebody on the ballot in Wisconsin, a major swing state, unless you die. In Nevada, no changes can be made to the ballot after 5 p.m. on the 4th Friday in June of an election year, or a nominee dies or is adjudicated insane or mentally incompetent. Mentally incompetent, adjudicated insane, or you die. That's the only way you can put another person on the ballot in Nevada. If Dementia Joe were to withdraw less than 60 days before the election, in Georgia, his name will remain on the ballot, but no votes will be counted. In Texas, the 2 parties' nominees have until the 74th day before the election to withdraw from the ballot. Some states, like South Carolina, don't allow candidates to withdraw for political reasons, i.e., everything you've been hearing about him not being the candidate is hogwash. They're stuck. Unless, of course, he meets his demise. Unless, something happens to him in the next couple months. That's the only way it changes, people. All the other people screaming on television about changing out Dementia Joe, y'all pushed all in with your poker chips. You're at the big boys table. You own this. There's nothing you can do about it. You take those other 2 measures, I don't know what the adjudication, how long it'll take to do 25th Amendment, and how bad that would look on television, in the media, and everything else. But that would look horrible. So your only chance at this point, and even then, resigning isn't an option for Nevada and Wisconsin. Only death. That's it. Your only option is to die. Even if he resigned, you're not getting on the ballot in Wisconsin, and you're not getting on the ballot in Nevada. The only way that changes, let me just make sure you understand that. The only way it changes is you die. That's how dire a situation the Democrats find themselves in today. I don't know if anybody has told you about this. I don't know if people are talking about it, but they're just talking out their butts. Unless they figure a way to somehow get people in Wisconsin to change the law between now and November, you're screwed. You own it. You own Dementia Joe. That is your candidate. Enjoy it. I did. I enjoyed it yesterday, but that's it. So all the talk you hear in the media, all the BS everyone's saying is just that. They can't remove this guy unless the coroner comes. That's pretty much it. So that's where we are with Dementia Joe at this point. Scotty Barnes says the Democrats cheated to get Joe in, and now they are in a huge mess. They deserve everything they get. Boom. Great comment. You're exactly right. This is what you wanted. This is what the 3 a.m. dump of ballots was for. This is what all the ballot box stuffing. You own it. Now, I understand you got a puppet. So I got a video coming out probably about a half hour after this rally. It's going to shock you guys. Absolutely, you got to find that video as soon as it goes up, and it's shocking. Taxation without representation needs to come back into style. I fear they are going to try to. This is a great comment. We should talk about this. I fear they're going to try to jail Trump in July. So everybody knows that sentencing, I believe, is on July 11th. After what we saw last night, there's a good possibility they sentence this guy to the pokey. They sentence Trump to, I don't know, a year, 2 years, who knows? I mean, he probably can get an emergency appeal and remain out on appeal. But understand, if they do that, if they put Trump in jail, just consider the election over. not caring what they do, not caring if Hillary gets an additional body count. Doesn't really matter. It's over. Wait until you see the polls, the real polls. Oh, by the way, speaking of polls, okay, I was going to say wait until you see the polls after this debate. It'll take them a couple days, and probably early next week we'll see a poll. But already, before the debate, a poll in New Jersey got released this afternoon. It was taken before the debate. Trump has gone up in New Jersey. Let me say that again. Donald Trump is leading Dementia Joe in New Jersey. Bluest of blue, New Jersey, Trump is leading. They are seeing this data, and they have to realize at this point, it's a freaking landslide. There's nothing they can do. And to me, that's the scariest part. Because when you back somebody into a corner, especially these nuts, there's no telling what they'll do. I mean, obviously Trump's got some great security. I'm sure there's a lot of patriots surrounding him. But at this point, be especially frosty. Who knows what they're going to do? Who knows if they're going to trigger some cell that came across the border? Who knows what's going to, or cells, plural. They are going to be desperate. I just read you the replacement rules for 3 of the main swing states. I'm starting to hear thunder. I hope my stream doesn't drop. So you're hearing that right now. That's just complete desperation. There's nothing they can do. I mean, again, there's something they could do, but would they do that? Probably. He has fun barrels of ice cream to get him to get him down. Oh yeah, let's talk about that. Oh, I'm hitting real thunder. God, I hope this thing doesn't go down. I'm in South Florida, and we get these afternoon thunderstorms, and I hate when there's rallies at 2:30, 4 o'clock in this time of day because, boom, things can just go haywire for an hour. All right, so the U.S. Supreme Court found in favor of January 6th accused, overturning some of the charges. Huge win. Not only did it overturn some of those charges, it also basically took a nuke to Jack Smith charges as well, in 2 ways. One, he may have to amend his entire case against Trump. And 2, it really takes the meat of what he was trying to do against Trump away from him. And 3, the best case scenario for Jack Smith is it's going to push it back even further. So we're not going to see this Jack Smith case down here happen with the documents, all that crap. And then Monday, the final shoe might drop. On Monday, the immunity case is going to be released. I personally don't think they're going to grant Trump complete immunity because I think that'd be a bridge too far. I think that would be absurd. I do think they are going to say the president has limited immunity, and if they give him the limited immunity, that's going to neuter Jack Smith as well. So, Fani Willis, she about to get bounced. Big Fani, she ain't got nothing going on. So at this point, it's Donald Trump against Dementia Joe, and we've already seen how that works out. Just so you also know, Joe is making it hard on the Democrats. The White House issued a statement, I'm not going nowhere. I'm staying here, and I'm also going to do a second debate. Could be bravado, could be a bunch of BS, but they issued that statement. They issued the statement and said, we're not going anywhere, we're in it to win it, and we're going to do the second debate. Why? Dude, nobody would blame you if you just said, no thanks, we're not going to do this one. I just hope they don't do the same thing with basically sequestering him for a week and then sequestering this feed and not let other people see it. Because I'll tell you what, after what happened last night, I don't think it's worth the network going through all that just to try and save Joe. Ace Haley says something big will happen before the election and Trump will be back before November. I don't know how that would happen, but somebody's got their feelings hurt. Barry, you're not far from Joe's age. Calling him Dementia Joe when you're that close is crazy. Oh, really? Hurt your feelings? Your nipples hurt? I mean, like right now, your nipples kind of hurt because I said Dementia Joe. It must be. It must be something that's got you just a little aggravated. Don't worry. November 5th is coming. Your aggravation will be eliminated. You go back into your little hole, your sewer. And by the way, I'm a long way away from Dementia Joe's age. I'm going to just tell you that, okay? And I can still got my faculties as I'm doing all this and producing this show. So you don't piss me off. You make me laugh at you. We're all laughing at you, lib nuts, at this point. You guys are a joke. Absolutely. No, I ain't that old, man. I don't care how old Dementia Joe is. I don't, well, thunder. I don't care that he's 80-something years old. That's not what's important. His faculties are gone. You understand, people don't have to be in their 80s and mid-80s to lose their mind. Many of us have had relatives who have succumbed to dementia or Alzheimer. Had nothing to do with their age. It just happens to you. And, you know, don't think that anyone's really immune to it because they don't even know how it starts or how it happens. But I'm not talking about someone's age. I don't care how old he is. He could be 100. Don't give a shit. What I care about is he can't make sentences. Blah, 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 blah. So y'all deal with that. Sure. Second debate. What somebody's here. Sure. Second debate. You got knocked the hell out, but you're keeping the belt and ready for a 12 round of rematch. There's no improving. I don't understand how he wants to keep going and thinks that he can improve upon what he did. You had, just so everybody can recant, he had 18 advisors coaching him in a closed situation for 7 or 8 days in an airplane hangar with a mock stage so that they could go through every possible scenario, probably had the questions, did everything for him, the best food, the best medicine. His wife was out there, and he flubbed it. What are you going to do different? If you had that much of a capacity to practice, and you still flubbed it, there's no hope for you in the next debate. None whatsoever. The only thing that would help you, and maybe you already had it, would be a cochlear implant, so maybe you can hear the questions and someone can dictate the answers for you. But other than that, if you've got to stand up there and just go toe-to-toe with Donald Trump didn't even have to say anything. He would just give him a look like, oh, I love the comment. When they said, would you like to comment? He goes, I don't even know what this guy just said. In fact, I don't think he knows what he just said. Perfect. Done. Over. Should Trump debate again? Why not? Why? At this point, let me rephrase that. Depending on where he is come September, if he's up by 10, 12, 14 points, hell no. No, you're not in my league. I don't need to come down to you. If he's up by 10 or 12 points and he's ahead in New Jersey and he's close in New York and he's close in Pennsylvania, nah, I don't need to debate you. I just need to go talk to the people. I just need to go talk to the people where I'm close to see if I can get over the top. I'm not going to waste my time prepping for you. I'm going to go out here and swing for the fences and talk to people in Georgia. I may go into Fulton County. I may go to Detroit. I may go to Chicago. Chicago people have been begging for Trump to show up. Think about that. If he decides to do a rally in Chicago, which I hope he does, and he's going to need like military security, but in any event, go into these deep blue areas and see how many people you can pick off. It'd be unbelievable. I think Trump needs to call Joe Biden Dementia Joe at the next debate. You know, the reason why he wouldn't do that is because at that point, he would probably piss off too many people who are on the fence. They're like, oh, you're picking on him now. There's only so much you can do when you're hitting somebody who's already basically below you. I mean, if you've ever been in a fight and you hit somebody 2 or 3 times and they're not getting up, and you don't want to go over and kick them in the head. I mean, you want to have some civility, you know, if you really want that kind of fight. But I wouldn't call him out. Or you say flubbed it is an understatement. Yeah, there were some people. Excuse me. Dana Perino on Fox. She brought her note card onto television this morning. And when she brought her note card onto television, she goes, now I've been doing this for a number of years. I've been on television. I was in communications and blah, 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 blah. And she goes, I had a pad. And she goes, here's my notes. And she picked up one piece of paper. And she goes, that's all I wrote. At 9:12, I went, he's in trouble. At 9:17, it's over. She had like 2 or 3 notes on the page, and that was it. There was nothing else to talk about. So yeah, it was an understatement. He got absolutely ass-munched. This is what's scary. Hey John, how you doing? This is what is really scary. Joe is the person over our nuclear weapons. Actually, he's not. Last night should have, and on my video coming out today, I'll give you a little hint about the video today and why we should be afraid. All right, here's why we should be afraid. Desperation is going to cause these people to make some mistakes. If you were this shadow government, now I want you to think about this. If you were in this shadow government that was basically running things behind the scene and this puppet was basically doing what you want to do, you wouldn't want him to be removed. Because you're thinking to yourself, I've got 7 months to do everything I possibly can before Trump could get in office. I want this puppet here because behind the scenes, yeah, I do have, or we have, control of the nuclear button. I know it's supposed to be Biden, but you got to know that there's some people behind the scenes who are controlling everything. What can they do in the next 7 months to really screw shit up? Then the next question you have to say is, now that you know what they can do, what would they be willing to do in the next 7 months to screw shit up? We've already seen a lot of it. There's no reason why they wouldn't, basically turn the dial. Every single day, the Supreme Court is coming out with another decision that's making them flinch. The other decision that came out today, in addition to the January 6s, is they kneecapped all the administrative agencies. You are no longer going to use the EPA and ATF and all these different agencies to basically create rules that become pseudo laws. You can't do it anymore. So now they're being handcuffed, which means they're really going to come out swinging. And all you need to do is think to yourself is, what have these people done in 3 years? And now, if you're desperate and you know you're not going to be here come January of 2025, what do you do in the next 7 and 8 months to get your agenda further to the point where I don't care what happens in America? We have an agenda. We have to accelerate it. We have to do what we need to do before January 2025. That's what scares me. Because we've already seen what they've been willing to do. Basically everything and anything. I say more in my video coming out, but you get the point there. Thank God the Supreme Court ruled for American freedom. Yeah, they ruled for American freedom, but here's the problem with what the Supreme Court ruled. Supreme Court also ruled that he couldn't give out student loans. And he's been bragging on every stump that he goes to. Oh, they tried to stop me, but I got around it. No, you didn't. You just ignored it. Why aren't those people who are in jail in the gulag in Washington not released today? Why? Because they're going to try and come up with some other way to keep them in jail. They need to do that because it's part of what Dementia Joe says. In his stump today, where was he? In North Carolina. At his rally, he said today that these people are in jail because, and Trump called them patriots. Dude, did you not hear the Supreme Court ruling? Obviously not, because he acted like it didn't happen. Sort of like yesterday when he went with, and he did it again today, he created a new hoax today. His new hoax is that Donald Trump said that if he doesn't win, there's going to be bloodshed. Just says it. Yeah, Donald Trump said if it's going to be bloodshed. Obviously, Donald Trump has never said that. He doesn't care. He didn't even know last night that the entire Charlottesville thing, fine people got blown out the water. He was shocked when it was like, he's like, what are you talking about? It wasn't debunked. He doesn't know. He has no clue. So until I see people getting released from the jail because of the January 6th thing, let's see what happens. I don't think they put Trump in jail. Maybe house arrest so he can't do rallies, though. You know what he could do? It would be funny. He could do a rally in West Palm Beach and basically Mar-a-Lago. I don't know if he'd want all those people on his property down there, but maybe just build a huge stage and overlooking the beach and just fill up the beach with like 50,000 people. House arrest for him. Yeah, that would be crazy. I've heard a few people ask this. Did he call him Brandon? I thought he did. I really thought he said Brandon. And if he did, it was genius, because those of us who know it went like, what? Did you just call him Brandon? Did you just basically tell Joe to F off without people knowing that you told Joe to F off? Because, yeah, let's go Brandon means FJB. So if he basically signaled to everybody, Brandon, he was basically saying F off. You heard it too, yeah. I think we all heard it. I have to go back and see if they see you guys say it right now. Pam says yes, he did. Yep, he did. I heard Brandon too. Yeah, he sure enough did. I mean, and it's funny because when he said it, my wife was out in the other room. I'm in here in the studio, and she went, "Oh!" And I'm like, "Yeah." He basically just he coded to us who know FJB. I don't know. He did call him Brandon. It was hysterical. Oh yeah. Let's see here. Let's go Brandon. Absolutely. Do you see the difference between that rally and the debate with Biden? Yes. So if you haven't seen, or if you haven't watched the entirety of that rally with Biden today in New Hampshire, and I think this is what Brandy's saying, it looks like a different person. It's like they swapped out Dementia Joe for Angry Joe. I mean, it literally looks like they brought a different person out. I mean, I don't know anything. I'm not into the whole mask thing. I'm not into this body double. But whatever they juiced him last night, they didn't get the recipe right. And then the recipe today was over the top angry. So they've got to find a way to get it in the middle, get that cocktail correctly. Because today, if this guy who was on stage in Raleigh was the guy who was at the debate last night, it would have been even worse. Because the guy who was on stage today would have been screaming at Trump, would have been just frothing at the mouth, and people would have been like, oh man, it's not dementia. This guy's freaking insane. I mean, he was screaming at people today. Yeah, he definitely had more energy today than he did last night. Should they have pulled a urine sample? I don't want to give away too much of my video, but there's something in the video at the end that's going to show you a lot. Yep, Alguna, you're perfectly right here. Biden had his teleprompters, and it only lasted 15 minutes. I think that was a key. He was able to look at the teleprompter, he saw the script, and he was able to scream because he could just go like this and just look at the script and do it that way. So you're probably right. You're probably right. Anger is part of late-stage dementia. Serious note, if any of you have seen or had a relative who's been affected with this, we joke about it. It's not a joking matter. And the reason why I joke about it is because it's crazy that we would have a president. As a person, I don't wish it upon anyone, not even Joe Biden. I really don't. I joke about it because it to me is insane that our president, who possibly could be suffering from this, is being foisted upon us by a political party that doesn't care what they do to this man. If you haven't seen somebody slide into, and I do mean slide into dementia, it's not pretty. It's almost like, what was that movie? Benjamin Bottoms, where you kind of go back to being a kid. When you see the full process, I had a relative who got onset, And slowly, this was a very, very, very active person. And by the time they got to the point where they passed, they were back to being fed in diapers, curled up in bed in a fetal position. And I just couldn't believe it. I'm sitting here watching someone regress from being an adult going back to being a child. It was simply amazing. And I don't mean amazing in a funny way. I mean amazing in fact of what am I seeing here? What kind of disease is this that someone can basically disintegrate in front of your eyes? The mind is one thing, but then when the mind tells you not to eat, and when the mind tells you basically not to talk, and you just, it's horrible, and you can't do anything. As a child, as a loved one, you walk in, and you're like, okay, what are we going to get today? Are they going to remember me? Are they going to talk to strangers in the room? It gets really bad. So those of us who have had relatives who have succumbed to it, we can look at this guy and go, this ain't happening as a president, man. Yeah, as a grandpa and whatever. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for your situation, but you can't. Karine Jean-Pierre, Jill Biden, all these people who are foisting this guy upon the American public should be, it's almost criminal. It is, man. It is almost criminal. My gramps had dementia, used to pee in the laundry basket. They don't know, man. They hide stuff. I mean, think they see little green men, get very, very, very angry. It's yeah, Benjamin Buttons. That's what they was. I was trying to think of that. It's very, and so a very bad disease, and he shows all the symptoms of it. I mean, not one or two. I mean, he checks all the boxes, and you know, you're right. They put too much of injection into his forehead. Oof, wow. Yeah, I did see this. Somebody said exactly, Barry. Oh, Walterine says, hello, Walterine. She says, I am my father's oldest child and he hated me. At least he recognized you. I mean, I know that's no consolation. You're like, wow, this guy hates me, and I'm his oldest child, but at least he recognized you. Think about it. At that, there's some anger there because obviously there's still some passion there. There's some feeling. Imagine the opposite. You walk in one morning and he's like, "Who are you?" And then because it's happened to me, your entire being just drops. Like, I'm Barry. Who? And it really compels you to go, man, this isn't cool. My mom forgot me. Yeah, that's absolutely correct, Barry. My about to mention my mom passed on April 11th. Sorry to hear that, Randy. I was doing okay until the first time she didn't know who I was. That stung. Yeah. I don't care if you're yelling at me. I don't care if you tell me you hate me. But when I walk in one morning and you go, who are you and why are you here? I'm your son. I don't have a son. Wait a minute, man. Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, I'm your boy. No, I'm not your boy. Hope you never have to experience it. I didn't experience that. It was a different relative, but his kids, he didn't. What was really weird is this relative I'm speaking of didn't recognize his kids, but recognized me. So imagine that head flick that you're going through. You're sitting there with some relatives, and he's like, "Get these people away from me. I don't know. They're trying to steal my food." Hey, Barry. What? Can you make these people leave? I think they're going to try and hurt me. Those are your kids, man. I don't have any kids. That's when it gets real crazy. When there's certain people they recognize, all right, so we've gone down. That started because that guy talked about dementia. I just wanted to explain it. All right. Oh, so sorry, man. I'm going through both of that with both parents at the same time. Wow. It's just way too much. All right, so let's just change the subject on that because I just don't want to hear how bad that is. Where was something here I wanted to I don't want to bring you guys down. That's the biggest thing. All right, James, how you doing, bro? James says that he just heard the Supreme Court rejected Steve Bannon on his stay on his jail sentence that just came out. That's fine. The thing is, at this point, I'm not sure if you guys are aware, but Steve Bannon is getting put in jail for 4 months because he failed to answer the January 6th committee's subpoena. Now, understand what that means. He didn't go to court. He didn't respond, so they're putting him in jail. Same thing that they did with Peter Navarro. But yet, at the same time, Merrick Garland is ignoring his subpoena. Yeah, I know, it's preferential treatment. Absolutely. Discretionary prosecution. However, Mike Johnson and I forget what the other ones, Marjorie Taylor Greene, have basically worked to invalidate the subpoenas that the January 6th committee issued. So if the subpoenas are no longer valid, then you can't be put in jail for not appearing for the subpoena. I think before, I don't know when he's supposed to report, but more than likely before he reports, they may end up getting that thing taken out. So hopefully that'll be, hopefully they'll move quickly before that happens, and we'll see. We'll know very soon. So I'm watching the TV here, not the TV, but the stream, which I hope doesn't go down again, and I'll let you guys see so you know I'm not doing anything. I can't do the sound now because, of course, they play music. So right there, these are the two ladies at the event. You can see the size of the crowd as I adjust my chair. He's got a much bigger crowd than Joe had today in North Carolina, but we're still not ready for the event. So Trump was supposed to start speaking at 3. He's 15 minutes late at this point, so we can keep going and talking about stuff. B. Borrowed, what's going on, brother? When they placed Biden in to run the country, his wife and family should have put a stop to his illness, but yet they did not. Okay, how do I say this? As much as people come down on Jill, what we've seen here at this point, I'm going to ask you a question. How do we know that Jill hasn't been threatened to keep her husband in line? If you could imagine the amount of blackmail and dirt that the agencies have on the Biden family, all that dirt, unless you want to go to jail, unless you want your brother to go to jail, unless you want, they've already looking at Hunter, and we're going to put your daughter and you and do what we say. How much it, maybe because I know my wife, and I'm like, I don't think my wife would ever, no matter how much money, would ever put me through that. But when you're seeing her drag him off stage and what she did today and how she gave the speeches. She gave a long speech before he talked. Very odd. Very, very odd. Maybe I just don't put anything past this government anymore. And the end all be all is if they can put Trump in jail, if they can put Trump through a trial of 34 different felonies, if they can do all that to him, they can do shit to anybody. And so now I've got so much information on you, Jill. I know you did this. Here's something else that made me just go, that's very interesting. Okay, so wait, let me drop this on you. We all seem to think that Joe and his family have been laundering money for years. 10, 20, 50, 100 million. Hunter's been bringing money in. He's had fake companies, 10% for the big guy, all this stuff. So let me ask you a question. If you got all this kind of jack, I mean, we're talking big jack, not like, McDonald's cheeseburger cheese, big cheese. big giant cheese. You got that kind. You're a cheesehead. You got so much money, right? The story came out 2 days ago that the Bidens have refinanced their house a whole lot of times over the years. Something like 10 or 15 times they have refinanced their house. If any of you have refinanced your house in your lifetime, you probably did it because you needed the money. You probably refinanced the house you're living in because you had to put a kid through college. You might have wanted to build an addition. Maybe, you wanted to buy a car. Maybe you wanted to get a Winnebago and you and your family go on vacation. And you're like, you know what? I could use an extra 50, 75, 100 grand. Honey, let's refinance the house and pull out some cash. If you're Joe Biden and you've done all the shit that you've done, and you've basically been laundering tens of millions of dollars, what do you need a million or $500,000 as I'm seeing Trump's motorcade?
President Trump is very
music. Looks like he's coming in the back way. Why would you need all that money? Why would you need to refinance your house? The one asset that you want to keep clear. You want to make sure that you have a homestead for you, your wife, and maybe even, your son or grandkids, your legacy. Think about that. And I'm sure many of you have refinanced the house. The only time you refinance the house, tell me if you refinanced the house and you didn't need the money. I guess that was just him rolling in. Yeah, tell me that. Tell me if you ever went to the bank, talked to your wife and said, you know what, honey? I want to take out 100 grand. She's like, for what? I don't know, just so I can have some cash. Just want to have some scratch in my pocket. Babe, we don't need it. Why would we remortgage the house just to remortgage the house? Something about that story, and again, I've been in real estate for a long time, so I know how people don't like encumbering their property. I know how people don't want to see their properties mortgaged. Nobody does that. Nobody takes out a mortgage on their home over and over and over if you don't need the money. Are they paying somebody off? Okay, if you're paying somebody off, why didn't you just use the millions that you brought in from China? So, I'm just going to pose that question to you guys as they're showing Trump come in with a huge motorcade right now. Look at all these cops. I'll just leave that up. Hopefully we'll see him come in. I don't know where this park is, but okay, here comes the rest of the motorcade. But just answer that to me. Just tell me, if you own a house, when would you do it? Tommy, there's a spammer in here, so maybe you need to get on him. Let Tommy know. Michael Brandis says the Biden have been bought and paid for. That's why they are towing the line. If they've been bought, that means they've been paid. Like you said, they've been paid. If they've been paid and they truly have taken in tens of millions, why would you remortgage your house? Think about it. Maybe I'm way off on it. Think about it. Thanks, Tommy. Tommy, you get those guys blocked? Put up a comment so I can see. Okay. Yep, Tommy got him. Tommy's on it. Tommy is on it. I don't even see all those things, so I look over and see you guys maybe talking about it. Somebody said they would refinance for better finance rates. Why would you care? What are you going to save, a point or two? Think again. Hey, you're not getting $1 billion if you don't drop the charges. Son of a bitch. You got $1 billion. They fired the guy. We're talking mega millions, and you're sitting here refinancing a house? Doesn't make no sense. All right, Trump has arrived, but they are not ready to do that yet. Trump is... okay, Zuzu. Hello, Zuzu. I've never taken money out, only refi 3 times for lower interest rates. And the reason why you sought out lower interest rates was to save money. If you had a 6% mortgage, you say, hey, maybe I can get a 4. If you had a 4, maybe you get a 2.5. It makes sense. It saves you money. Zuzu, if you had 10, 20 million dollars, would you give a shit? If your mortgage payment was 1,000 versus 1,400? I mean, that's chump change when you got tens of millions. Let's see what we got going on. A true quid pro quo. Yeah, maybe they're doing something like that. Helps with laundering the big guy's money. Possibly, but again, it's chump change. We're not talking about him refinancing for tens of millions. We're just talking about a house on the beach that probably is worth, at this point, $4 million. And just, to me, just being in real estate just didn't make any sense to me. If Virginia flips red, the election is over. There's a couple of those states where you can make that statement. Like, for instance, if New Jersey flips red, it's over. If Wisconsin flips red, it's over. Florida, it's no longer a swing state. It is solidly in the red. It's a Trump state. Well, okay, this might be something. When you feel entitled, it's never enough. That's possible. 10% isn't chump change. There are things that are relative to someone's personal perspective. 10% to you, excuse me, is not the same impact as 10% to somebody else. That's just the way it is. Doesn't mean you're in a different situation makes you bad. It just means that 10% is different. People will look at it. I had a guy one time, job I had at an advertising agency, and I brought in a deal. And I said, these people are willing to pay us good money to basically do record their commercials. He goes, how much? And I'd only been there like 3 or 4 months. And I said, they're willing to pay 10 grand a month for us to produce their commercials. And he looked me in the eye and he's like, exact words, 10 grand a month doesn't turn the lights on in this building. I was like, oh, not interested? Not at all. Perspective. 10 grand a month, I don't want to return your phone call. It's not of interest to me. 10 grand a month for another agency, and they're sending an entire team to talk to you. 10 grand a month is basically hitting the lottery for a new young business. 10 grand a month for this particular business that I was working with, just looked at me and goes, it doesn't even turn on the lights here. Oh, all right. Well, want me to just tell them no? Yeah, we're done. We're not even interested. When you get to that kind of perspective and you're talking to people and it says 10% isn't chump change, I've met and worked and known people where, depending on what that 10% represented, it indeed was chump change. It's all about your presence, your situation in life. Glad I did my house note with insurance included was $615. Insurance rates went up, now $770 a month. Just your insurance is $770, or your entire mortgage is $77? I guess what you're saying is your mortgage is now $777. That's a lucky number there. Let's see. I just got on. Mom paid $130 a month for 30 years and paid off her house. Ah, the good old days. That's the kind of stuff that drives millennials crazy right now. Hey, listen, I remember my dad's first car after he opened his business. And I still remember it was this kind of lime green Mustang convertible. He paid $2,500 for it. I'm like, you couldn't even touch that nowadays. When I took Robin to get her birthday present, and I'm looking at some of these cars on the BMW lot, there was a SUV for $160,000. I was like, damn, I ain't there, man. I ain't there. TJ Bull of the Woods says my rent is $1,450. Might sound low, or it might sound high. Again, we're talking to people all over the world right now who are seeing what you just wrote. Some people may say, I wish my mortgage or rent was only $1,453 a month. And you got other people go, oh man, $1,450? That's really freaking expensive. And it's all, that's all I'm saying, it's all relative. The insurance went up over $300 in a year. You hear what's thundering here? I don't know if you guys could hear it through the microphone, but South Florida, your rates, depending on your zip code and how close you are to the ocean, man, it can go real high real quick. Hispanics for Trump. Oh, that leads me to another thing. All right, so another thing I'm finding funny, as we're still waiting for Trump, he is now 25 minutes late. Unlike him, but we'll give him the slack. Is, again, I spoke yesterday in the live broadcast after the debate I was closing up, and I was talking about them replacing Trump and them needing to do whatever kind of cheat they could to make it work. And I'm like, you can't do it. Because there are so many Hispanics and because there are so many black people at this point who are supporting Trump, even though James Clyburn seems to say there's zero. There's no black people supporting Trump. It just doesn't exist. It's Bigfoot. They're not going to be able to do the shenanigans they want to do. And that includes using a lot of these newcomers and trying to flood the registration and voting blocks with these newcomers. There's too many eyeballs. Just way too many eyeballs. And I'm telling you that is going to cause a problem. It may even cause some fisticuffs at the voting areas, because people know who lives in your precinct, in your district. I'm like, who the hell is this? No. I guarantee you, you're going to see some Hispanics who are going to be looking at some of these newcomers and go, no. You're not supposed to be here, and pick up the phone and say something. Now we're really going to see. What's it called? See something, say something. Absolutely. That's going to be the biggest thing going into this election. Democrats put up posters in Miami comparing Trump to Castro. People took it down. Yeah, good luck with that. Good luck trying to compare Trump to Castro down here in South Florida. They can see right through that. Wow, eggs are $7 a dozen. That's what I told you. You heard me say it. I said Friday was coming. The debate was last night. Friday's coming. Those egg prices didn't change. Every day from now until the next debate or whenever, those prices are either going to go up, but every single day you're going to keep seeing them every day. I paid $3,000 for my car and got green stamps with it. Green stamps, man, you're dating yourself. I bet you there's a whole lot of people here who don't even know what you're talking about. S&H green stamps. I remember. After last night, Biden's fundraising will be nil. Now, he'll still get money. There's a lot of money that he's probably filtered and laundered to different places, and it's just going to show up. It'll just be from somewhere. We're never going to know. Oh, he raised $30 million. From who? Who gave Biden $30 million? Yeah, right. Let's see here. I remember green stamps. Yeah, you remember those S&H green stamps. I obviously I'm talking to some people about my age. Oh my gosh, I love the green stamps. Okay. Zuzu, I remember green stamps. Jonathan, I remember green stamps. Wow. That's old. Let me see what else wow, a lot of you guys remember that. Nowhere to hide the newcomers. No, not, especially since everybody knows. At this point, we all know where they stay. If you live near them, you know where they are. You know if they've showed up at your job. You know which ones aren't supposed to be here or are newcomers and what they're doing. It's not like they've tried to assimilate. Not whatsoever. The only thing they seem to want to, and I'm sure, I'm one of those people. I am not going to blanket everybody. Yes, you are a criminal if you've crossed the border illegally. You're a criminal. But I do understand that not 100% of the people who cross the border illegally are knuckleheads that want to hurt, maim, rape, and murder people. It doesn't really matter. You could be a very nice person, but you're not supposed to vote. You're not supposed to. And having been in real estate for a while and in construction, I can tell you there's a lot of people who will hire a lot of undocumented newcomers to do some work, pay them under the table, save some money. But those are normally the people who aren't going to cause the kind of problems with an election. Wait a minute, Big Island. Wait a minute, he must be from Hawaii. Where was that? There it is, Hamakua. As long as they stay away from the Big Island. So he's in Hawaii. Way to go. What did the Brady Bunch buy with make green stamps great again? That was a bomb, man. I remember my mom used to buy like cameras and stuff with it. The so-called defenders of democracy lied about his presidency, lied to get him elected, and have the most anti-American policies we've ever seen. You ain't lying. You ain't lying there. Very anti-American. If I was a newcomer, well, that's kind of small, and they were using me as a vote, I'd just come over and then thumb my nose out, and once I got here, disappeared in one state or the other. Now they don't have to vote. Yeah, I mean, if you're getting paid, I guess, who knows. I have to explain this, Eric, because a lot of people say this to me. Let me explain this while you're listening so I can just let you know. A lot of people say, stop calling them newcomers. You're making it easier for them to assimilate. I have to call them newcomers. There's people listening in. There's algorithms that want to come after you if you say the actual word. Yesterday I can get away with it because actually Dementia Joe said it. An actual quote, he called them illegal aliens. Dementia Joe did. So as we were talking yesterday and what I'm saying right now, he said it. So guys, as you're listening, Dementia Joe during the debate called newcomers, my word, illegal aliens. He said it, not me. But in any event, we have to be very, very, very careful what we say here, because an algorithm will show up and beat you in the head, and that's just the way it is. It is indeed. I haven't heard this before. It is indeed BlueTube. Yep. Even though they have a red logo, they are really blue, and they have a lot of restrictions on what we can and can't say. I had dinner the other night, excuse me, with the winners to the trip to Fort Lauderdale. Lisa and Mark from Calabash, North Carolina came down, had a great dinner. I'm glad they were able to make it after they got rained out for the West Palm Beach rally. And he looked at me and goes, you really have to watch out what you say. I'm like, yeah, man. At one point, I mean, now that I know for sure, at one point I had a clipboard and I was writing down all the words that you can and can't say because it might get you in trouble. I can't say the big A word, about baby removal. Can't talk about that. They don't like you talking about that. You have to call them newcomers. You say the real thing, they have a problem with that. You can't call those people who used to be men but now are women, you can't call them their real word. They get mad at that. You can't say anything negative about the people who used to be men and are now still men, but you know what I mean. We have all those restrictions. So in addition to watching my mouth, I also have to watch in the comment section, make sure I don't put something up that somebody might see. It's really bad. And it's only going to get worse as we get closer to November. So I'm looking at Transformers. That would be a good one. Waiting for him to take the stage. As of right now, he still has not taken the stage. People are waiting in a hot Virginia sun in Chesapeake, Virginia. It is 3:33. Interesting. He's never this late. Maybe it was traffic. I don't know, but he's 33 minutes late. The definition of Barry, a gentleman. I don't know so much being a gentleman or I'm forced to do it. I saw Elvis in Miami in 1970. Wow. I was wondering this too. What do you guys think? Will President Trump announce his VP pick at the rally in Virginia today? I thought he was supposed to announce it last night. The rumor out there was he's going to pick or announce his VP pick after the debate. Didn't happen. So maybe Maybe he will today. It would be interesting. Big enough crowd, big enough attention. Makes sense. He could do it. But then again, whoever it was would have had to been with him on the plane. And if you see them showing, we don't see them, but if they showed up, that would be possible. But I don't know. We'll see. I think he did, but most people ignored it. You think he mentioned Tim Scott? I don't feel it for Tim Scott, man. Tim Scott, nice guy, but I don't know. I just don't feel it for Tim Scott. Personally, I know it's gonna piss off a bunch of you guys. I like Vivek. I just some people think he's a snake. I don't know. He doesn't seem. The reason why I like Vivek, here's why, in opposition to Tim Scott, is that he's like Trump. He's not an insider. I don't want anybody who basically has been in politics for a long time. And Tim Scott's been in politics for a long time. J.D. Vance, with his story, would be interesting. Byron Downs, a lot of you guys always talk about Byron. Yeah, absolutely. Let's see here. He did mention Tim Scott. Where was that? I just saw something. Okay, let me pull this up. Terry Briard says target on Trump's back got bigger after last night's butt kicking. Yeah, he enlarged his Secret Service detail, so yeah, he knows that they're coming for him. I don't know about Rubio at all. I would like Vivek. Yeah, interesting. Like a lot of Byron here, a lot of Byron. Vivek or J.D. Vance would be my top choice. We need someone, absolutely, I believe in this. We need someone young running with Trump, so there's a safeguard there. That's where I think J.D. Vance makes sense. Checking out the crowd, looks large, it looks hot, and it's 3:36, and as of yet, no Trump. Rubio is CIA. Again, I don't want someone who's been in politics for a long time. That's like saying I don't want a heart surgeon who has too much experience in surgery. I want someone from the outside. Okay, here's something. Edward says, why is everyone so giddy about the debate? The New York moron judge will sentence Trump someday, same day, July 11th, to Rikers Island, where they murdered Epstein. Number one, that could be true. They could indeed sentence him to jail. Number two, that is where, no, I don't think that's where Epstein was killed himself. And number three, unlike Epstein and some of these other people, he would still be protected. The Secret Service would still be in there, and he would be the weirdest thing. He's probably going to be. He would probably be in his own wing. And the fourth thing is, if they did something to Trump while he was in their custody, the world as we know it would explode. If you want to go that route, if you want to put this man in jail, and you think that people will not absolutely lose it, but then again, I understand you're desperate, and I understand, by the way, today Joe said the people behind him were saying lock him up, and you know what he said today? I don't know if I had, no, I didn't have the clip. He said today, there's still time for that. He actually said that on stage. I couldn't believe he said that. Is there a Trump event tomorrow? Let me see. I didn't hear about it. I shall look for you right now and see if I can see if there's a Trump event. I didn't hear about it. But let's see. Look on his official page. I don't see it. No, I don't see one. Maybe you guys have seen it. Let me know if you've seen one. I haven't seen it. Hold on. On his page, Bass's donation events. And no, the only thing on his page right now is this one right here. That doesn't mean there couldn't be one tomorrow if he decided he wanted to add one to his schedule, but as of right now, there is nothing on his schedule for an event tomorrow. So it's not likely he's going to have one. Dulce says they're playing Macho Man on the speakers at the event right now, so maybe he's getting ready to come up. I'm going to answer this the only way I can think of. Do you think he could have a rally in jail? I think the homies in Cell Block C would be looking out for Trump. Absolutely. I think the homies would say, do a rally in the Cell Block. That's another thing. They didn't count on Trump being so having the Hispanic and black market, and of course he's probably got most of the white guys in prison would be for Trump. But that would be he'd come out of jail with my homies. Hey Holmes. Oh, that would be too funny. Oh, John Simon says, and I beat Medicare. What in the hell was he talking about when he said that? I don't know. That was the stupidest thing I ever heard. I mean, let's see here. Ted Cruz would make a great vice president. I wouldn't pick Ted Cruz for vice president. I would wait until there was an opening on the Supreme Court, which could be relatively soon. Maybe Clarence Thomas wants to retire. And if Trump was president and Clarence Thomas or Alito decided to retire, Ted Cruz would be a great Supreme Court justice. Absolutely. He's a great, brilliant legal mind, young enough where he'd be on the bench for, decades. Either he or Mike Lee. I would love to see that. Trump would run the jail for sure. Yeah, he would be. There is a reason why Belinda says, Belinda, you're going to have to explain this. There's a reason why he plays Elvis music. Is anybody listening to me yet? I'm listening to you. Tell me why he's playing. I assume you're talking about Trump when you say that. So that's funny. Dude, you are going way back. Jethro Tull at Miami Marine Stadium in Key Biscayne, and sadly the young girl I took was killed a year after in a car accident. Damn, Bo. Damn, bro. That's a downer. Sorry to hear about that. Let's see. Jim Jordan for Supreme Court. I don't know if Jim Jordan. I don't know. Ted Cruz for sure. This is something. Maybe now there you go. What if they did this rally in Virginia to announce that Youngkin is the vice president? He needs Virginia. He has to take he could get away with Virginia if he took New Jersey or something like that. But if he really wanted to cement it, can you imagine if he said, okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to come after Virginia. We're going to flip the state red because you're going to be my vice president. That would be absolutely interesting. That would be crazy. What else we got here? Ted Cruz. Tomorrow would be a good time to announce Aqualung, somebody says. Going back down here. What's the deal of the commercials during a debate? My commercials or YouTube's commercials? If it's YouTube commercials, YouTube just basically decides they're going to play commercials when they want to play. So, yeah, it's free to watch. There's no tickets, and so they charge, and they place commercials. If it's my commercial, which you just reminded me, might be a good time to play my commercial, is because I have sponsors, and that's how I get paid. And where is my commercial? There's my commercial. I could play that right now. Thank you for reminding me that. Maybe you didn't mean to, but while we're waiting, let me go ahead and play my commercial. If you watch my videos, you know that I've often referred to my dad came from Jamaica. He was an immigrant. He came the right way. And then he worked and busted his hump here in America to build a business. What you may not know is that he was so proud of America, he joined the Army. He even talked my brother into going to West Point. I didn't go that route myself. Didn't want to join the Army. But I always listened to him. One of the things he used to say is that America did so much for him that he wanted to protect it and protect the American way of life. And of course, He wanted to protect what he built. He worried specifically about times like we're living in today. So one of the lessons he told me was to protect yourself, son, and buy some gold. But I was too strong-headed, wanted to do my own thing, and I didn't listen. But as I grew older, I realized everything he said was right. So I bought gold to make sure my family was protected. Right now, I think all of us can see that America is in trouble. I'm sure, like me, you hope that Trump gets elected in November. However, you have to make sure you protect yourself now, just in case he doesn't. You definitely don't want to get caught flat-footed. Lear Capital can help you prepare for the uncertainty of tomorrow and the potential turmoil in America if Trump doesn't win. Lear Capital has had over $3 billion in trusted transactions. They have thousands of 5-star reviews and a 24-hour risk-free purchase guarantee. Lear Capital is the precious metal leader that you can trust. If you want to get protected and hedge what's going to be going on politically, give Lear Capital a call at 800-601-5430 or visit learberry.com. And by calling today, you may be eligible to pick up $15,000 in free bonus precious metals with a qualified purchase. Give Lear a call at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. All right, so that's my commercial because Lear Capital is one of my sponsor partners. And yes, I do buy gold because it's important, especially with what's going on in this country right now. So it's a 3:46. Trump was supposed to speak at 3 o'clock. He has not spoken, has not even taken the stage as of yet. Very interesting. Jason has a good comment here. He says, which women would be a good Trump VP? I think that would be game over for the Dems. I don't know if Tulsi? At one point, I was really, really, really high on Carrie Lake. I think at this point, Carrie Lake has too much baggage that they would absolutely just destroy her. But I always thought Carrie Lake would have been good, but all the stuff with the election stuff, it's just kind of too much. I don't think her, but Tulsi could be a good one. Elise Stefanik could potentially be good. Hello, Karen's crazy sister. If Trump is in jail doing a rally, he's going crip walk. Oh my God, that would be too funny. Absolutely. AOC, no woman. Why, man? Why no woman? Joe's speech was 20 minutes today. I thought it was actually shorter than that. Hey, Tom, how you doing, bro? He says that Democrat the last Democrat that I actually liked was Joe Lieberman, and his party booted him out. I knew Joe Lieberman, I don't know, 20, 25. Let's see, well, I've been married 33 years, so I knew Joe before he got married. So I knew Joe Lieberman before he passed, way back 35 plus years ago, when he was a senator in Connecticut. That's how far back I knew. And he was always the same type of guy, but don't like to speak ill of the dead, but he was basically from that same camp that Joe Biden comes from. I mean, he could grease some palms, if you know what I mean, if you needed something to take care of. Back in the day, if you needed, at that time, way back when, I needed a liquor license. This is 1989 or so, 88. And my attorney said, well, I got someone who could probably get the liquor license approved because the property needed zoning and everything else. And he goes, I want you to come to lunch and meet me tomorrow. We're going to have lunch. I'm going to introduce you to somebody who can get this done for you. I go to lunch and I come in and, the two of them are sitting there. I didn't know who he was. And he got introduced to me, and it was Joe Lieberman. And he went on saying, Joe can go ahead and get this done for you. Oh, great. Me being wet behind the ears. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. What? What? Oh, donation. You need some you need some greenbacks. Oh, okay. Yeah, I agree to donate to your whatever you want me to, and just make sure I get that liquor license. And then I got the liquor license. It was. it happens like that. It happens like that. Hey, R. Heath, thank you very, very much for that. And again, I just want to make sure you guys all know, gave away $400 gift cards. I'm getting a hold of people. Dorothy from Tennessee, Lita from Arizona, Jaden from Minnesota, and Kirsten from Texas were the 4 winners. Each one of them, and they have to give me a picture so I can put it up there and show it to you that these guys actually won. So right now I'm putting together another trip, another getaway. I think it's going to be back down here to Fort Lauderdale. I mentioned it now because I just got that super chat. So we're going to do another trip, probably during the next rally that he announces, but I'll start talking about it a couple of days beforehand. It'll be flights anywhere in the continental USA, put you up in a hotel. My wife and I meet you and your better half for dinner, and then you can do whatever you want. So that will be fun. Mark Robinson, loved him. Absolutely loved Mark Robinson. Stream is spinning. I don't tell me. What do you mean the stream is spinning? No, seems to be working for me. Might be your computer. I can only be here a bit. Bye, Bowman. Bowman. Man, that guy. What an idiot. Yeah, I just hope he and AOC and Rashida Tlaib and PayPal, whatever her name is, all get bounced. And of course, Ilhan Omar. That's just, yeah, maybe tides are turning and some of these states are saying they've had enough. AOC pulled a Howard Dean in the parking lot. It's all over for her. I don't know what they were thinking. I don't know. Was she appealing to a young audience, maybe 16, 17-year-olds? Because it didn't make any sense. I'd never seen her like that. I've never seen her act in that manner. And she just went absolutely nuts. Trump's probably backstage still laughing at what they did to Biden. We're just saying here that they're playing depressing music at the rally. Hey, Twin Spark, how you doing? He was in the mad mode. Hi, Ward, how you doing? Thank you for coming to the channel. By the way, guys, do me a favor. It's free, but just need you to...
Come on, show some love and click that like button.
All right, here. Yeah, Cori Bush, somebody said, yeah, I wish she was gone as well. AOC is an absolute whack job. So I'm not sure. I haven't gotten any indication, not that, they need to notify me or anything, but I'm looking at the video. Let me just go ahead and put this on screen so you guys can see what I'm seeing. And I get the music real quick. Nothing seems to be happening. We're going on almost an hour behind schedule at this point. Everyone's been sitting and waiting. I see the Secret Service guys are there. Not sure what could be the problem. Don't know. But it's very unlike Trump to be an hour late. I'm sure he'll let us know. Maybe he's waiting for someone to show up because I saw his motorcade come in. So we got to wonder what it is that we're waiting for. But I'll leave that on the screen so you guys can see it as well. Kentucky for Trump, absolutely. Let me go back up here. AOC looked goofy. That's an understatement there. Trump, Crystal, you are absolutely right. Trump is worth the wait. I just hope something didn't happen. That's the thing I'm worried about. It's just not like him. And the thing is, it's not like them not to have somebody come up on the podium. Usually there's a number of speakers. We've watched enough of his rallies at this point where having an empty stage isn't something we normally see. He would have speaker after speaker after speaker. After Glenn Youngkin left the stage, nothing. Crickets. Nothing going on. Not sure why. I can't imagine it would be a fire marshal because Glenn Youngkin was there. So if there was some sort of logistical problem, I'm sure Glenn Youngkin could smooth it over. So not really sure what's going on at this point. What you saw with AOC was the Bronx coming out of her. As someone who grew up in the Bronx, I can tell you that's not always a good thing. Great job, Barry. Thank you very much. Let's see what's going on. Pedro, thank you for tuning in. Daisy Love says, what's the left's theories about J6? Let me click that button. They need to arrest Waters and Harris for their hate speech causing 2020 riots, in my opinion. Maxine, I can't believe those people just continue to let her come back. Might be a security issue. Yeah, I understand there might be a security issue going on backstage, but here's my problem, having produced a bunch of concerts, is did a show with Guns N' Roses way back, and Axl Rose was a nightmare to work with. When you have that down, delayed time because somebody isn't ready, you just don't let people sit in the audience. They start getting restless. They start, it just throwing stuff sometimes. They can get... I'm seeing everybody stand up, so maybe he's finally taking the stage. Let's see what's going on here. Is he finally coming up? People standing. Not sure. Not sure what they're all standing up for. Holding up signs. You guys can see it as well as I can. They seem to be... Trump is full of fire. The music they're playing is going to put them to sleep. It looked like everyone was getting up for something, and then all of a sudden they just stopped. So I don't know what's going on. Never, like I said, never known him to be an hour late, ever. Wesley Hunt, yeah, he's a good guy. He could be a good guy. What about Nikki Haley for vice president? She could raise a lot of money. I don't think Trump's going to have any problem raising money at this point. At this point, I don't think he's going to have any worries about cash. I'm still seeing a lot of people standing up. I mean, at this point, when he comes out, he's going to have to tell us what the hell's going on. Here he comes. Here he comes. All right. So he just showed up. As you guys can see, I'm going to take the comment off the screen right now. Let me make sure they're not playing that music, otherwise I can do it. All right. An hour late, but he's here. Let me hear if they're playing music. Yeah, they're playing music. So he's playing the Lee Greenwood song as he walks out. Let's see what he's got to say today. He should be pumped from last night, that's for sure. Can you imagine what this guy goes through every single day, everywhere he goes? What kind of crap he must have to go through? You know, you know why he could be late? Do you know what he was doing? Let me see if I can find. There was an actual video. He was playing golf this morning. Maybe he got off the golf course late. I don't know. But he's coming up to the stage right now. Let me put my ears in, and here he comes. Are they still playing music? Yep, they're still playing the Lee Greenwood song. As soon as that music is done, I can switch to the audio, and then I need you guys to let me know if it's loud enough. Do I need to turn it up? Is it okay? All right, he's coming up the stairs. He can actually go up the stairs, unlike this other guy. And I love that he holds a big event, and lots of them are outside. So he's out there in the sun as well. Let's get it done, Mr. Trump. You were up at 3 o'clock in the morning watching the debate? Wow. Biden just landed in Queens. What's he going to Queens for? Is he holding a rally there? Interesting. All right, so let's go ahead. Let me check the music. Yeah, he's still... Lee Greenwood song is still pumping. Okay, hold on. All right, so I need you guys to let me know if you can hear. Put a comment if it's okay. I'll shut up.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Hello, Virginia. Did anybody last night watch a thing called The Debate? That was a big one. But as you saw on television last night, we had a big victory against a man that really is looking to destroy our country. He's the worst. He's the most corrupt, the most incompetent president in the history of our country. And we have to take it back from that party. That's an evil party, despite the fact that crooked Joe Biden spent the entire week at Camp David, resting, working, studying. He studied very hard. He studied so hard that he didn't know what the hell he was doing. He got the debate rules that he wanted. He got the date that he wanted. He got the network that he wanted. With the moderates he wanted. No amount of rest or rigging could help him defend his atrocious record. It's not defensible. I don't care who you were. You could be the late, great Clarence Darrow. Has anyone ever heard of Clarence Darrow? He was known as quite a good debater. Not as good as your governor, but that's okay. Hello, Governor. I can't miss this guy in the crowd. But his son's much better looking than him. Joe Biden's problem is not his age. It's not his anything, really. He's got no problem other than it's his competence. He's grossly incompetent. You know, they keep saying old. I know people that are much older than him that are doing unbelievable things, making a fortune. I knew a man that at 79, he was never a success, and he made $1 billion and a half from 79 to 92. And that's what it is. It's not his age, it's his competence. He's not respected anywhere in the world. Our country is being laughed at all over the world. Biden is using the weaponization of his Justice Department, the FBI, local district attorneys and attorneys general to try and win an election against his political opponent. That happens to be me. Do you know who I am? Something that actually was unthinkable in our nation, but which is very common in third world countries or in banana republics. That's what he's doing. He's using law enforcement to try and hurt his political opponent. Every one of those things last night, you saw that, was all started by this guy, this crooked guy. And not only crooked, I mean, just so bad in so many ways. He's killing our country. He's incapable of winning based on his far-left policies of open borders, massive tax increases, the Green New Scam. That's a windmill on every corner, most of which don't work. And things like putting men in women's sports, really not a great idea. As every American saw firsthand last night, this election is a choice between strength and weakness, competence and incompetence, peace and prosperity, or war or no war. They like a war. They love wars. You know, they love killing people. It's so wonderful. You know, I'm the only president in many, many decades that didn't start a war. I finished one. I beat ISIS in record time. Left, we had the situation where Russia went into Ukraine. They would have never done that. And where Israel's attacked. And then we had inflation. And then we had that horrible event that took place in Afghanistan. The worst, I think the most embarrassing moment in the history of our country. And it's a choice, though, between a president who puts America first or a train wreck who puts America last. They put America last. Actually, the Democrats put America last. You take a look at that. Look at a guy like Senator Schumer. I've always known him. I've known him a long time. I come from New York. I knew Schumer. He's become a Palestinian. He's a Palestinian now. Congratulations. He was very loyal to Israel and to Jewish people. He's Jewish, but he's become a Palestinian because they have a couple of more votes or something. Nobody's quite figured it out. A vote for Joe Biden is a vote for failure, surrender, and disaster for our country. A vote for your all-time favorite president, President Donald J. Trump. Is a vote for stopping Joe Biden's inflation, stopping the border invasion, and very simply making America great again. It will make America great again. You see these beautiful women. I'm not allowed to use the term beautiful as a politician. In fact, it could be the end of my career. If Glenn ever ran against me, he'd say he called women beautiful, and that could be the end of my career. But they're beautiful. What am I going to do? I can't lie. But you see these beautiful women up here? They come from a place called North Carolina. We all love North Carolina. And this is their 127th rally. And it's hard to believe. I seldom see their husbands, but they're happily married. I said, are you all happily married? They love their husbands. You love your husbands? They put up with a lot, huh? No, they're very happily married women, but it's 127. But I'll tell you, front row Joes even have that. They're about 200 and something, right? They must have made a lot of money somewhere along the line. Do my people treat you good? Huh? They better treat you good. Front row Joes, they become very famous. The question every voter should be asking themselves today is not whether Joe Biden can survive a 90-minute debate performance, but whether America can survive 4 more years of crooked Joe Biden in the White House. In fact, I don't know if we can really survive 5 more months. This is the most dangerous time in the history of our country, in my opinion, and we have a transition period because hopefully there has to be a transition. We've never been so close to World War III before, and if it happens, it will be a war like no other. This because of the threat of certain types of weapons. We don't even want to mention the word, but because of the type of weapons that you're talking about today, and I know them better than anybody. You know, I built our military. I totally rebuilt our military. I know more about weapons than just about anybody. And when you look at the incredible destructive power of these weapons, this will be a war like no other. This will not be 2 army tanks running against each other and shooting. This is going to be something the likes of which we've never seen. And we have a man who's grossly incompetent heading up our nation, and he's competing against Putin and President Xi of China and Kim Jong-un of North Korea. He's competing against people that are at the top of their game. And he was never really at the top of his game. He was never very good. But now he's really not good. Last night was a defeat not only for Biden, but for the entire radical left Democrat Party and the fake news media who have been lying to the American people as our country was being destroyed. The fake news media, look at all of them back there. Look at all of them. That's a lot of cameras. That's a lot of cameras. That's a lot of camera power. The Joe Biden on stage yesterday was the same Joe Biden who gave us open borders, crushing inflation, rampant crime, 2 new wars, a disastrous Afghanistan embarrassment, most embarrassing moment in the history of our country, and the international humiliation. Think of it, one after another, international humiliation, one after another. Nobody respects him. Foreign leaders don't respect him. You know, we put up $124 billion more given to Ukraine than Europe. Now, Europe is a lot closer. We have a thing called an ocean in between us, right? So no matter how you cut it, it's got to be more important. Why is it that we're not equalized? Why is it that they put up $124 billion, our people, these people in Washington that don't know what the hell they're doing? You know, I stopped it with NATO. We were spending almost 100% of the money for NATO. And I went in my first meeting, I realized, I said, you know, they're not paying their bills. They're delinquent. My second meeting, I said, you got to pay. And they said, well, what would happen if we don't? Then we won't defend you against Russia. And the next day, money came in by the billions. You never saw money come in so fast, Glenn. The money was pouring in. And I took a lot of heat, Michael. Oh, there's Mike Waltz. He knows better than anybody on this subject. He's the all-time. But am I right? The money came in like at a level that was never seen. Hundreds of billions of dollars poured in. And then I took heat from the press because they said, no, I will not defend you if you're not current. And they said, well, that's not very nice. I said, it's not nice. Now, if I said I will, they wouldn't have paid, right? I suspect. But I took a lot of heat. But the fact is, the Secretary General called it the greatest. He's never seen anything like it, because Bush would come in, make a speech and leave. Obama would come in, make a speech and leave. And then I came in and I didn't make a speech. I just said, these guys aren't paying their bills. They are not paying their bills. I don't want to make a speech until they pay their bills. But they asked me, will you defend us if we don't pay? I said, no, I will not defend you. We're not stupid anymore. And $400 billion came pouring in. You never saw money pouring in so fast. The whole world should know that while Biden is the worst president in the history of America, our country is going to be strong again, and it's going to be very soon. I want the enemies to know that, because we have a 5-month transition period, and I want the enemies to know, don't play around with us during this 5-month period. Don't play around. It's only for them. It's also from, in all fairness, we have enemies on the outside. China, Russia, North Korea, enemies, but they're not really enemies if you have a smart president. If you have a smart president, they're not enemies. You'll make them do great. We had no problems. China paid us hundreds of billions of dollars, and it was so because they respected our country. Thank you very much. He said, they respected you. Thank you. Stand up, please. Who said that? Stand up. Because they respected us. You said it better than I could. Thank you. I plagiarized. Thank you. No, they respected us. There was no games. But we have the enemy on the outside, and you can do great things with them. And then we have a worse enemy. I call it the enemy from within. These are the sick people, the socialists. Remember I said, America will never be a socialist country. I was right. I was right. It skipped over socialism, went directly into fascism and communism. It never stopped at the station called socialism. It went worse. And that's a big problem that we have, but I think you're starting to see the end of that. And it's been starting for a while now with us, but I think last night was a big moment for people with common sense that want to see America be great again, want to put America first. Many people are saying that after last night's performance that Joe Biden is leaving the race. But the fact is, I don't really believe that, because he does better in polls than any of the Democrats they're talking about. You've seen that, Glenn. These polls come out with some of the names they're being, like Gavin Newsom. He can't run California. He's one of the worst governors. No, he's a bad governor. He can't run California. People are leaving one of the most beautiful places on earth. In terms of weather, in terms of everything else, you can't do any better than California. He's doing a terrible job. But he gets up and he says, oh, California's doing great, pa, 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 like a machine gun, pa, 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 pa. But it's doing bad. People are leaving so fast, and he'd be easy. But he's got lousy poll numbers. And you take a look at some of the others. Then, of course, Kamala is somebody that will be on the scope. It might have been Joe Biden's single best decision, putting her as vice president. Might have been his best, because nobody wants that. I do. I'd be very happy with that. But they don't poll as well as this guy. I mean, I don't want to speak against myself, but maybe, and they polled everybody. They polled Michelle Obama. She polls very badly. No, she polls terribly. Michelle Obama, people, you know, they polled many people, and it's hard to believe, but crooked Joe Biden polls better than those people. So I don't know what's going to happen. I have absolutely no idea. I just know that we're going to make America great again. That's a good-looking group back there. Better looking than front row Joes. You know what happens? You think they don't have a good seat. They actually have the best seat, because oftentimes the cameras are on them. The cameras aren't on you. And I'm making a speech, and they have all this stuff. It's all over the world, and a lot of them get picked. Would you like to come to Hollywood? You'd be amazed how many people. They see some of these beautiful faces, and they say, let's move them to Hollywood. They have the best seat. They don't know it, but they do. Okay, I don't want to point to too many of them. Get myself in trouble.
Thanks, Dave. Thank you very much.
the biggest problem for our country is not Joe Biden's personal decline. It's that Joe Biden's policies are causing America's decline at a level that we've never seen before. That's why this November, the people of Virginia and the people of America are going to tell crooked Joe Biden, Biden, you're fired. Get out of here. You're fired. Get out. We don't want you. You've been the worst president in the history of our country. We don't want you. Get the hell out of here. But we don't just need to fire Biden. As you saw yesterday, the whole Democrat Party deserves to be voted out of office. You have some great people. You have some great people in this state. And the reason I'm honored to be with you, Governor, who's here, just made a really fantastic speech. I saw it coming in. I'm flying in on my plane. I'm watching him speak. I said, what a beautiful crowd that is. But he just made a great speech because what he says turns out to be right. He's got common sense. He's got great policy. He's got the policy that made America great. Now America is in decline because they have people that are going against those basic policies. But he's got the policies that made America great. And I'll call him up. I just said to him, do you want to come up? I know you just spoke for 45 minutes. Will you want to come up? And I said, come on up. You know, so he's going to come up in a couple of seconds. And as far as I'm concerned, he can say it all again. He can say it all again. But we're proud of him. He's done a great job. Time and again, Joe Biden revealed how extreme and divisive the radical left Democrats have become. Before your very eyes, Crooked Joe endorsed unlimited, extreme, late-term abortion up to the moment of birth, and even after think of this, and even death after a baby is born. And I always am very clear about this. When I say the governor of Virginia, I always go back and say the former governor, because you don't want to be tied into this. But the former governor, I call him Michael Jackson. Remember? His wife saved him. He was going to moonwalk. He was trying to say why he wore blackface. And he was going to moonwalk across the stage. And that's when his wife finally put down her foot. Don't do it. Don't do it. You're already destroyed us. You've destroyed us. Don't do it. Remember, she stopped him because nobody can moonwalk like Michael Jackson, the greatest people. So this would not have been a pretty scene. But he said that, and you can see it. I mean, they have tapes on it. He said the baby is born. Yes, the baby is born, and then we make a decision on what to do with the baby. And there's some states that allow that. It's not even believable. But think of that. But Biden celebrates throwing his political opponents in jail. He bragged about surrendering our energy independence and all of the other things that he's done in favor of China and India and other countries. And he claimed that the strength of our economy comes not from hardworking Americans, but from illegal aliens, where almost all of our new jobs have gone to illegal aliens. You know that? And just remember I said this because this is a disaster waiting to happen. You know, we're doing very well with the black and Hispanic vote. We're doing very well with the union vote. Like record numbers. Because we've done a lot. We've done criminal justice reform. We've saved the historically black colleges and universities. We had great economic development programs with Tim Scott. Opportunity zones, it's called. It's probably the most successful opportunity. I mean, it's the most incredible thing. And that's gone largely to black, Hispanic people. It's been great. So we've done a lot. But, you know, the worst thing that's happening to black, number one, Hispanic, number two, unions, number three, is the millions of people pouring into our country. They're taking their jobs, and they're taking the black jobs. People that have had their jobs for a long time are losing their jobs. And Hispanic jobs, people that have had them for a long time, they're losing their jobs. And you know who else is the biggest loser? Is going to be the unions. The unions, like the Teamsters. I have such respect for Sean. He's the head of the Teamsters. I don't want to throw around names, but he's a good man. And I don't know, I think, you know, we're at 89% approval within the Teamsters union. And I use Teamsters when I build buildings in Manhattan. They do unbelievable. They take the concrete trucks, and nobody can wheel a truck. These guys are incredible. And, you know, maybe we get lucky. Maybe somebody's smart, you know, when they have 89% approval, and then they endorse, because for 50 years they endorse automatically. It's almost like automatic. They endorse the Democrat, but I think maybe the Teamsters go with us. You know, when you have a vast majority on your side, and then the person that did it, Hoffa did it last time, and he ended up getting sort of thrown out of the union. But I think they have some good leadership. I think a lot of unions are coming our way, but these millions and millions of people that are coming from prisons and jails, you know, there is a slight difference, okay? They're coming from prisons and jails, mental institutions, and insane asylums like Silence of the Lamb. The press always says, why does he ramble about Silence of the Lamb, the late, great Hannibal Lecter? He'd like to have you over for dinner. Did you ever? Don't do it. If he suggests, I'd like to have you for dinner, don't go. But these are the people that are coming into our country, and they're coming in at numbers that nobody can believe. Venezuela has its lowest crime rate in 30 years because they're taking their gang members and they're dropping them into Virginia, but you have a governor that's not letting them stay very long. Right? But Joe Biden and the Democrats know this, but they're unwilling to do, for whatever reason. I don't understand, for whatever. You know, you always like to understand the other side or your opponent's reasoning. Why would somebody want open borders? Why would somebody want men playing in women's sports? Why would somebody want 100% electric vehicles and they don't go far? They're too expensive. And you know what? They have a place. Elon is a friend of mine. He probably doesn't like me too much with what I say, but they have a great place for a certain application. But you don't want 100%. They've made so many. They've spent trillions of dollars on subsidies. You ever notice that the car companies aren't selling cars, but they seem to be very happy? You know why? Because they're getting massive amounts of subsidy from the government. Normally, they'd all be out of business because they're not selling cars. They're making far more electric vehicles than you need. But they do have a place. They have a great place. But it's 9%, 7%, 8%. You have hundreds of thousands of unsold cars. This would be a great time for you to go buy an electric vehicle. But the car companies normally would be losing their shirt. But this stupid man that we have is giving massive subsidies. He's given massive subsidies to windmills all over the country that are ruining our beautiful plains, our beautiful land, our beautiful oceans. Whales aren't exactly in love with them. How about in New Jersey, where they had one whale in 50 years that washed up to shore, and last year they had 18. Would you say there's something going on? Little. They had one whale in 50 years. Last year they had 18. That's a lot. And happening more. It does something to them. It drives them crazy. Joe Biden's radical left Democrat Party is now the party of open borders, massive tax hikes, the destruction of Social Security. They are destroying your Social Security because these millions of people are coming in. They're giving them Social Security. Do you believe this? They're destroying it. They're the party of endless wars, weaponization of law enforcement, lies, hoaxes, and corruption. They're corrupt people. The Republican Party is now the party for all Americans because the Republican Party is the party of common sense. Common sense. And in the wake of all these Biden disasters, it's time for our country to finally come together so that our whole nation can win together once again. We're going to win together. We're going to bring our country together with success. Our country, pre-COVID, we had a country that was rocking and rolling like no country in the history of the world. And everybody wanted to come together. It was going to unify. I was getting calls from people that I would have said were radical left, serious radical left, Democrats. They wanted to come. They wanted to have lunch. And then we got the gift from China, COVID, the China virus, as we more accurately call it. And we did a great job. You know, we were recognized for doing great economy. We started no wars. We rebuilt our military. We got the greatest tax cuts in history, greater than the Reagan tax cuts many years before. The greatest, we had the greatest cuts in regulation of any country and of this country. Nobody has even come within 25-30% of what we did. We cut regulations at a level that nobody ever saw before. And, you know, when I went to the big companies and the small companies, and I'd say, which was more important, the biggest tax cuts in history or the biggest regulation cuts in history? I have never heard one person say the tax cuts. They'd say the regulation cuts were more important. People couldn't build. They couldn't do anything. They were just stagnated. We had a case in Louisiana where an LNG plant, it was stuck in 14 years of traffic. They couldn't get their environmental permits. I got them in one day when I came into office, one day. And they built a $15 billion, this is like 3 Empire State Buildings rolled over and put together. This was the longest thing I've ever seen, made up of like all pipes. And I said, what the hell? But it was a $15 billion project, and they couldn't get it done. I got it done in one day. I took all the things. I said, let's get it done. And then we got 2 of the other ones done, and they're doing unbelievable business. And it was foreign money being poured into the United States. They would have never gotten it approved. And we have many such plants, different types, but plants will never get approved. And all they do is produce good things for us and lots of jobs. And in Virginia, we're doing that too. We're working with your government to get a lot of things approved that you thought would never happen. And we'll get them done very, very quickly. But with these guys, you'll never get them done. You'll never get them done. They don't have any clue. All they know is electric. They want electric army tanks. They want electric planes. What happens if the sun isn't shining while you're up in the air? Well, sir, I told you there'd be problems, sir. No, they want electric everything. They want electric boats. The problem, the boats, they don't float because the battery is so heavy, it sinks the boat. They say, we don't care, we want them anyway. Whether you're a Democrat or Republican, young or old, black, brown, or white, we welcome you to our movement and ask for your help and your partnership in making America the strongest, most magnificent country again anywhere in the world. As I said last night, I'm not in this race for me. I'm in this race for the sake of our country. You know, I told him last night, I wish you were a great president. I wouldn't even be here. I wouldn't have been indicted more than Al Capone. Al Capone was indicted one time. He was a killer. If he took you, see the guy standing up? See that guy? I don't know who the hell he is, but if Al Capone took him to dinner, he'd say, he's so obnoxious, kill him. He'd say, kill him. He'd be dead, and then the cops were afraid to investigate him. They say, Al Capone did it? I'm not interested in looking at that. He'd be at the bottom of a foundation of a nice big building. And I got indicted more than Alphonse Capone, Scarface. Can you believe it? And it's all been because of Biden. But I said to him, I wish you were the greatest president because I wouldn't have run. I wouldn't have done this. Look, it was rigged. The election was totally rigged, but I wouldn't have run. If he were a great president, I'd say, you know what, if he's doing a great job, that's so important. I wouldn't have run, and I wouldn't have been going through all this stuff. But I wouldn't be here with you, and I'm enjoying this. This is better than sitting home watching television. This is much better. This is better than being on some magnificent island that I own and enjoying the fruits of life. This is much better standing out here at 100-degree weather. Global warming. Every time it turns a little slightly warm, it's global warming. It's global. The planet is going to hell. What about those people that used to say we have 12 years, in which case we're all gone? That ended about 5 years ago. We keep waiting. No, he said last night, you know, he loves this word. It's an existential threat. Existential. He has no idea what the hell the word means. I was going to ask him. But he said it again last night, that global warming is an existential threat. And I say that the thing that's an existential threat is not global warming, where the ocean will rise, maybe, and it may go down also, but it may rise 1/8 of an inch in the next 497 years, they say. 1/8, which gives you a little bit more waterfront property if you're lucky enough to own. No, that's not the threat. You know what the threat is? That's the threat, Joe Biden. It's a threat. Now, the threat is weaponry. The threat is nuclear weapons, okay? The threat is nuclear warming. That can happen tomorrow. We have 6 countries out there with massive nuclear capability. He doesn't mention it. I watch these people talking about global warming, and they don't use that now. They use climate change because global warming was no good because it was actually getting cooler. So they used to have in the 1920s, they thought the planet was going to freeze. They had a thing, global cooling. They had a picture, I think it was on Time magazine, of the Earth, very cool. 1920s, it was a global cooling thing. But now they got smart. It's climate change. Because climate change, if it goes warm, it's good. If it goes cool, it doesn't matter what. If it rains, if it snows, if you have more tornadoes or less tornadoes. I read about some bad tornadoes, and we do have bad tornadoes. But the worst tornado was in 1987. The worst tornado was in the 1800s. They say 1857 ripped the hell out of the country. In 1893, we had a series of tornadoes that made these look like babies. Now, that's only reporting, who knows, but they were very serious. It's cold weather. The risk is weaponry. The risk is nuclear warming, and we have to be careful. And we need our smartest people to head this up. My uncle was a professor at MIT, the longest-serving professor in the history of MIT, Dr. John Trump. And Dr. John Trump told me many years ago, I was a little boy, just like that beautiful kid over there. I wasn't as good looking as him, but other than that, but I was the same age. And you know what? He told me, I say, what do you mean, Uncle John? No, someday he knew nuclear better than anybody. When he graduated from MIT, they said, would you do us a favor? What? Become a professor. And because he was so smart. And he said, well, I'd like to think about it, but he did. And he was there for 41 years. He's the longest-serving professor in the history of MIT. He used to tell me about nuclear many years ago when I was a little boy. He said, someday you'll have a bomb that can do destruction, the likes of which nobody can even imagine. And I won't tell you what he said in terms of the power, but he would say just that, and then he'd go into some more details. And I said, no way, Uncle John. No way. No, he said, yes, that will be. And he was very worried about it. That's your threat, and we don't even talk about it. We never even met. Can you imagine this guy saying global warming is the greatest threat to our country? Global warming is fine. In fact, I heard it was going to be very warm today. It's fine. It's fine. I believe that, and we were united. I'll tell you, during that period of time, just prior to COVID coming in, I was with Tony Fabrizio and John McLaughlin, two of the great pollsters, and there are good pollsters, We have a lot of fake pollsters, like we have a lot of fake news. They are fake news in a sense. But, by the way, did you see, we had a poll last week, Rasmussen, which is a good poll. That's only good because I like them. They happen to be good. If they were bad, like 2 months from now, I'd say they're terrible. But the Rasmussen poll is a big deal. It's a really good poll, and they have us up 10 points on this guy, 10 points. That's pretty good. And a friend of mine who's very smart, but he's not really into politics, he said, could I ask you a question? Why is 10 points good? You mean he's going to get 40 points? I said, you have to understand the Democrats basically get 40 points. It doesn't matter. If this lectern was running for office, it would get 40. Actually, Joe, that's true. They get 40 automatically. The Republicans have to do it the old-fashioned way. We have to earn it. We have to do like in 2016. We have to do really like 2020. We got many millions of more votes in 2020 than we got in 2016. We did actually much better. But it was rigged. What are you going to do? But you know what? We're not going to let that happen again. We're not letting that happen. They used COVID to cheat. They did everything possible to cheat. And Hillary Clinton said, why didn't you do that to me? Why didn't you find those votes for me like you found for Sleepy Joe or Crooked Joe? Ready? Poll. What's a better name? I go Crooked Joe first, and then Crooked Joe Biden or Sleepy Joe Biden. Ready? Crooked Joe first. Who likes Crooked Joe Biden first? Okay. Who likes Sleepy Joe Biden? Similar. Okay, let's do it again. Crooked Joe Biden. Sleepy Joe Biden. Crooked. The other time, last week I did that. I like saving money. You go to these pollsters, they interview. I don't even think they interview them, if you want to know the truth. I think they just say they interview because they make money. I don't even think they interview them. But they say they interview like 243 people, and they tell you what's going to happen with the race, right? And then they want to charge you $500,000. Politicians know this. And I come to these rallies and I do my own polls. We have 25,000 people or something here today. I get a free poll. It's a free poll. Okay, here's another one. Who likes Governor Glenn Youngkin? That's the end of that. I don't know who to put against him because there's nobody going to win. Anyway, well, you're right. But we were a truly united country, and I believe that we can be a very great country again. It's going to be stronger. It's going to be more glorious. It's going to be better than ever. We're going to make our country better than ever. Our mission must start with restoring safety to America, one of the most disturbing lies out of Crooked Joe's mouth. In our debate last night was when he denied anything having to do with the border. Anything having to do with the border. He said the border is such a lovely place, letting massive numbers of terrorists pour into our country. Just 2 days ago, news reports revealed that while Biden was taking his 10-day rest and study period, it was a rest and study. Where is he going to be? I love Camp David, by the way. I'm not a rustic person. I don't love rustic look, but I loved it. You had to see this place. I started to love it. Very seductive. You go up these log cabins. They're so beautiful, the best. And I'd see FDR, pictures of FDR and pictures of the great presidents. And it was so historic and so incredible. But I'm not sure he has any idea what the history is. He just likes a log cabin. He wants to lock himself in. He wants a place to sleep, okay? Just leave me alone. Leave me alone. I want to sleep. I'm studying for the debate. I want to sleep and study. That's all I'm going to do for 10 days while the world is going to hell. But he had a study period at Camp David while more than 50 terrorists, 55 to be exact, were running into the United States after Biden allowed them to cross our wide open southern border. Crooked Joe has no idea where they are, what kind of slaughter they intend to commit, but you will bet anything. ISIS terrorists, 55 of them last week. ISIS terrorists, the worst in the world. By the way, I defeated ISIS. You know that. With General Kane, right? Raisin Kane. You know that story. Raisin Kane. He was great. Great general. Real general, not the television. We have a lot of television generals. They're no good. Like Milley. How about Milley? We had some, like the dumbest of them all, General Kelly. He didn't know. He was lost in the White House. That poor guy didn't know what the hell was happening. He was like a lost, we used to call him a lost soul. Under the Trump administration, we will not rest until we have found every single radical Islamic terrorist who Joe Biden has let into America. We will arrest them or we will throw them the hell out of our country immediately, and we will not let them back in. We have no choice. And already Biden's open border nightmare has stolen countless innocent lives. Yesterday in Houston, you read about this. 12-year-old Jocelyn Nunguri was laid to rest by her grieving mother, who I spoke to yesterday. Incredible woman, just devastated. Literally, I was going up to the debate, and I got the return call from the mother. And I talked to her, and they're screaming at me, "Sir, you're going to the debate. You're going right now, sir." You know, and I'm on the phone, and I said, "I can't. I might be late." But that's okay. But I said I will. I did talk to her, and then I said, "I'll speak to you, and I'm going to call her today or tomorrow." A devastated person. She was a devastated person, but her precious daughter became yet another victim of the Biden migrant crime. People that would have never come in here. In fact, a lot of these people that you're reading about, we threw them out. They were gone, and they came back under Biden. Last week, Jocelyn was savagely tied up, viciously assaulted, and brutally murdered by 2 Biden migrants who Crooked Joe released into the United States to prey on our women and girls. One of these monsters waited just 20 days before ending Jocelyn's beautiful American life. Crooked Joe proved last night he has no regret, no remorse, had no idea who she was, no empathy and no compassion for all the innocent victims whose lives have been just absolutely destroyed. And you look at so many of the other young people that you're hearing about. So many of them are young, 13, 12. raped and killed. 13 years old, 12 years old, raped and killed. And remember this, I say this a lot. This is just starting because they're just getting comfortable in the country. They never heard about politically correct law enforcement. We have the greatest police in the world, but they're not allowed to do their job. And we're going to let them do their job. And we're going to give them immunity so they can't be prosecuted for doing their job. Joe Biden inherited a great border because I fixed it. Remember, I fixed it in 2016. I got elected because of the border. But that border was nothing compared to what we have. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But I fixed it. It was a big deal. And I would say it was probably one or two in terms of my points that I had a lot of things. But the border was a big deal. It was a bad border. I fixed it. So much so that I couldn't even speak about it during the 2020 race because nobody cared about it anymore because it was fixed. So he inherited a perfect border, and he proceeded to destroy it almost immediately. He destroyed it at a level that nobody can even believe, but many times worse than it was in 2016. I'd love, I have a chart. I don't know if these guys don't know about this, but I have a chart that if they could find it, put it up, because there's one little stat on this chart. Oh, wow. These guys have become good. It used to take a day to get that chart. They'd say, sir, we'll have it up tomorrow. I said, tomorrow's not going to help me, Glenn. So you see the arrow, Glenn, on the bottom. See the arrow, the big red arrow on the bottom. That's the lowest level of illegal immigration ever in recorded history right there. That's the week that I left office. And look what happened after that. Look at the numbers on the right. Look at what happened after that. So that was the lowest level, and then it started marching upward. But what you don't see are the drugs. We're at the lowest level in 32 years. The human trafficking, mostly in women. They traffic in women. And that's now back at a level that we've never even seen or imagined before. But I love that chart. That chart is just a small chart in with other numbers like poll numbers and things that are so impressive, even fundraising. We raised more money after this crooked trial than we've ever raised, I think, than any candidate. I think we raised over $400 million. Can you believe it? I would say if we did 10 million, it would be a lot during this period. 10 million's a lot of money. They raised over $400 million during this very short period of time. A little period of time. If we would have done like 8 or 9 or 10, it would have been great. But they did numbers that because everyone knows they're a bunch of crooked people. These are crooked people using justice to try and win an election. But I'm proud of that chart. It was in with other things that are very important. But there's something about the importance of this that I really thought we could show it. And sometimes we'll take it out, show it to some of these big crowds. When I return to the White House, we will stop the plunder, rape, slaughter, and destruction of American suburbs, cities, and towns. And for the suburban women, who I actually think vote for me, I think that's, they say... They say the suburban women. What, you saw Biden, you like Biden? Yeah. The suburban women. You know why they like me? Because I'm going to keep them safe. I'm going to keep them safe. We're going to keep them safe. And I think it's fake. I think we do great with suburban women. But I always read, he's trying to get the suburban women. No, I think they like me because I'm going to keep them safe. Militarily and also from the standpoint of borders and everything else. We will shut down deadly sanctuary cities. I will shift massive portions of federal law enforcement to immigration enforcement. And on day one, we will begin the largest domestic deportation operation in the history of our country. And we have no choice. Have no choice. And as we discussed last night with Crooked Joe, the Biden border invasion has also been a disaster. And I say it, and I'll say it again. For the African-American, Hispanic-American communities more than anybody else, virtually all of the net jobs created have gone to Biden migrants. Who would think that? I heard that a week ago. I said, you got to give me that stat. Almost every job, did you know that? It's hard to believe, actually. Almost every new job has gone to illegal immigrants. Joe Biden wants to be the president for illegal aliens, and I want to be the president for Americans of every background, every walk of life, every race, religion, color, and creed. And remember, Joe Biden used the term super predators. He used it for 10 years. He used it more than anybody else. That's not a man that likes black people. I will tell you, that's not a man. Super predator. Ask him about it. I brought it up last night. He went, oh. Super predator, ask him. And honestly, only black people know what that term represents. 1990s, Joe Biden, super predator for 10 years. Every day, more African Americans and Hispanic Americans are joining our movement, and that's one of the major reasons that we're going to win the Commonwealth of Virginia this fall. And our case to Virginia is very simple. We will seal the border. We will make the American dream affordable again. But we will bring back the American dream, something you don't hear about anymore. You're going to have the American dream back. Working with your great governor, Glenn Youngkin, we will make Virginia greater than it has ever been before. Under my leadership, we had the greatest economy in the history of the world. That was proven time and time again. During my term, we had gasoline down to $1.87 a gallon. And by the way, take a look at gasoline. It's going up rapidly. Do you see what's going on? That's going up. And by the end, the 30-year mortgage, think of this, was 2.6%. It was 2.6% interest. And you know what it is now? It's 10%, but you can't get the money. So the American dream of owning a house is impossible. When I left office, inflation was almost nothing. How about this guy going around saying it was 9%? No, it was 9% when he didn't enter. About 14 months after he got in, he had to go from almost nothing to 9%. But he had a period where he had what they call the Trump float. He had all the good things, including the bounce-back jobs that they took. They said all these pandemic jobs, we said close it down, do whatever you want, and then when it opens, they're called bounce-back jobs. And they bounce back to bigger than where it was before. He takes the credit for it. You don't take credit for a bounce-back. Joe Biden accidentally admitted last night, quote, there was no inflation when I became president. He made a mistake. That was where I said, did you mean that, Joe? You mean you're... Now, Virginia families are being crushed by Crooked Joe. You can't afford groceries, rent, a house, a car payment, or anything else. I think your real rate of inflation, by the way, they say 24, 25%. I think if you really add the right items and you include interest where you can't get a mortgage, but if you do, you're going to pay much more than 10%. I think your rate of inflation is 35 to 50%, and that's killing this country. It's a country buster. It's a family buster. It's busting up everything. We have the highest inflation, in my opinion, in the history of our country. In fact, Biden didn't have inflation for the first, so he didn't have it for many, many months because I gave him something that was beautiful. I gave him a clean, beautiful border. All he had to do was leave Tom Homan and leave these great people. You know, Brandon Judd, great. Oh, and he had a news conference today because Biden last night used his name in vain. He said, I never supported Biden and I never would. He said, I support Trump. I don't support Biden. He has no support. He doesn't have support from one police group anywhere in the country. He's a defunder. If you want to know, defund the police. That's another brilliant policy that they have. And then like a nightmare, it all began. But on day one of my new administration, we will throw out Bidenomics and we will replace it. We are going to replace it with Maganomics. 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 To stop Bidenflation, I will end Joe Biden's colossal waste of American taxpayer dollars, and I will rapidly terminate a thing called the Green New Scam. It's the greatest scam in the history of our country. We're spending trillions and trillions of dollars on nonsense, on things that all they do is cause waste and inflation. I will repeal every disastrous Biden regulation. He's adding them back as fast as he can, killing our jobs. Cancel Crooked Joe's insane electrical, think of it, the electric vehicle mandate. It's called the EV mandate. And we will do something like we've never done it before, although we did it pretty good 5 years ago. You know, 5 years ago, we were totally non-reliant on oil and gas from other countries. We were going to soon be energy dominant. We were going to be sending it out to Europe, all over the world. Nobody had ever seen anything like it.
Thanks,
and then
Brenda
this guy ended
and
it.
Marcus.
Then prices went up and he started saying, oh, let him drill, let him drill. But if this election went bad, our country is going to be destroyed. But they will go back to that policy on the day after it opens up. And you're going to have electric bills that will be triple what they are now, because when we get in, we're going to have a very simple phrase. We will drill, baby, drill. We're going to drill, baby, drill. Think of it. 4 years ago, we were energy independent. Now we're begging Venezuela, one of the safest places on earth. It's true. Though their crime rate is down to the lowest that they've ever had. Their crime rate is down 72% because they've taken all of their criminals, they've taken all of their prisoners, they've taken all of their drug lords, drug dealers, they've taken all of their gang members and brought them to the United States of America. Congratulations. Congratulations, everybody. And they brought them in, so their crime rate is, wait, you have here, the crime is down 72%. They've taken their criminals and they deposited, and then they just got up 2 weeks ago and said, under no circumstances will we take any of them back. So here's what we're going to do. Next year, we're all going to meet as a group. And if this guy, it's not even conceivable that he's in. I hate to even want to suggest it. Let's say in a few months we'll do this.
Tommy,
we're going to meet again. We're going to meet in Venezuela because it's the safest place on earth. You know, in Caracas, a year ago, 2 years ago, you had no chance of walking across the street if you were a woman without being accosted, beat up, shot, knifed to death. Now it's a very safe city because they've moved everybody into the United States of America. How stupid are we? How stupid are we? And their crime rate's way down. And all over the world, their prison populations are down. And the fake news, look at them all over back there. The fake news doesn't want to talk about it. They say Donald Trump has a conspiracy theory. It's a conspiracy. No, it's not conspiracy. And by the way, if I were one of the presidents or dictators, as I call them, most of them are dictators, but they go under the term president. But I know them all very well. I would have been doing better than them. I would have had 100% over in this country by now. They're emptying their prisons. You know what that is? They're emptying their mental institutions into our country. Do you know the money they save? The money is massive. And we have all the problems. Nothing good is going to come out. And we have ISIS terrorists. We have terrorists pouring into our country. Just bad, bad things are going to happen. And it's all because of this incompetent president, the worst president in history. If he gets back in, Joe Biden has also vowed to pulverize Virginia families with the largest tax hikes in history. Congratulations. He pledged that the Trump tax cuts are, quote, going to expire, and if I'm elected, it's going to stay expired. That means he's going to raise your taxes by 4 times. It's going to be the largest. You know that, Lynn. He wants to give you the largest tax increase in the history of our country. It's going to decimate Virginia, and it's going to decimate every state, and it's not his fault. You'll have to take the heat. Maybe that's what they're doing. You'll have to take the heat. But they want to decimate because those tax cuts went more to the middle class and the lower class than to anybody else, and the creation of jobs. But instead of a Biden tax increase, I will deliver a Trump, and call it a Trump middle class tax cut. And all of my life, I said it last night, I've watched as politicians cut taxes. This guy wants to raise your taxes by 4 times, and people say, oh, let's vote for him. I don't know. They don't use the term liberal anymore. They use the term progressive, you know, because it's a nice-sounding word. I'm a progressive. But it's not a good word. It's a really bad word. And we will have a brand-new Trump economic boom. We're going to cut taxes. So we cut taxes substantially, massively, the biggest tax. And with a lower rate, we did much more business, much more revenue than we had before the cuts. In other words, we just did better. And Apple and Microsoft, all these companies were bringing their money back from offshore countries, from other countries that were bringing it back into the United States because they essentially weren't allowed to from a practical standpoint because the tax was so high and the bureaucracy of doing it was almost impossible, they say. So we're going to do more tax cutting, and we're going to have this country at a level that you've never seen it before. And we're going to, underfoot, under the ground, we have more liquid gold, oil and gas than any country on earth. And, we had a thing called ANWR in Alaska. Ronald Reagan wanted to get it approved. He couldn't do it. Everybody wanted to get it approved. I got it approved. The first week of Biden, they disapproved it. The greatest reserves, they say, outside of perhaps Saudi Arabia, could be greater than Saudi Arabia, would have been so great for Alaska, but would have been great for this country. Massive, massive oil reserves, and they turned it down. These people are horrible. I've announced that as part of those tax cuts, I will eliminate all taxes on tips. A very simple statement, no taxes on tips. I got that idea the other night. I'm in Las Vegas at my place, which is a very nice place, having dinner with some people, big people, successful people, talking about the future of the country, and they're very worried about it. And the waitress came over. I said, "How are you doing? Been there for a long time." And she said, "They're killing me on tips." I said, "Really?" They go after. He said, "You have no idea. They just issued new regulations that make it impossible for us to live." And I was actually surprised to hear it. No taxes on tips. And when I announced that last week, my phone's lit up. I never saw anything like that. That was a very popular thing to announce, but it's a good thing. You earn the money, you keep the money. Every time you leave a tip for the next 5 months, make sure to write on the receipt, "Vote for Trump for no taxes on tips." It's no wonder Joe Biden and his thugs are so desperate to stop us. They know that we are the only ones who can stop them. A great thing just happened a few hours ago. You probably heard about it, but maybe you didn't, because some of you have been standing on line for 3 days. Do you know that? These people, right? They've been online for 3 days to get into your place, Glenn. This is crazy. You must have heard that Glenn is going to be here with his superstar son. We do, right? Don't we? I think he's great. Doing great. But just this happened a few hours ago. The Supreme Court ruled that Biden's Department of Justice has wrongly prosecuted hundreds of Americans for peacefully protesting on January 6th. Those people have been treated so badly, especially when you compare them with people that ripped apart and killed people in Portland and in Seattle and in other places. They have been treated so badly. So we're asking, based on the decision, they should immediately be released, immediately, the J6 hostages. But all of these people, whether it's the thugs in Portland, the thugs of Seattle, the thugs of Minneapolis. How about Minneapolis? It was burning down. Remember the guy from CNN?
Thanks,
although I shouldn't knock CNN because I actually thought they treated me very fairly last night. Very professional, both of them. Jake and Dana, they treated us very fairly. They abused me for years, but last night, right? What happened? They treated me very fairly. I think it's great. I think it was great for them. It was great for CNN, but I thought they were very fair. But all of those thugs, and then you take the monument-wrecking thugs of Washington, D.C. Remember they came into Washington? And, you thought maybe there was a little bit of a racial anger. But then they wanted to take down the statue of Abraham Lincoln. I'm saying, what's this all about? But they only wanted to do things until I got tough with them and imposed a 10-year jail sentence on anyone for so much as touching any one of our magnificent monuments. And it was amazing to watch them flee the city. They fled. They fled the city very rapidly from that moment on. You know, I brought out an old law that had been done in the early 1900s, and it said that if you touch a statute, you get a maximum fine of 10 years in jail, and you can't do anything about it. It's 10 years in jail, and that's it. So I reinstated that law. You could never have a law like that passed today because it's too tough. They don't do things. Until the country's really in trouble, they won't do things. But I took it out. I reenacted it, and as soon as I did, in other words, 10 years in jail if you get caught doing anything to one of our beautiful monuments or statues. They fled Washington. It was a beautiful sight. I watched them go up. Look at them go. Look at them go. No, because it's what they understand. But based on the Supreme Court, the great Supreme Court, we put 3 incredible justices on. They had, I understand, another 3. And they did the right thing. Free the J6 hostages now. They should free them now for what they've gone through. They've been waiting for this decision for a long time. They've been waiting for a long time, and that was a great answer. That was a great thing for people that have been so horribly treated. So many of these people were told to go in, right? The police, go in, go in, go in. What's going on? And they put them in jail for years and years. All of their persecution is only happening, and all of it has happened to me because I'm running for president and leading very substantially in all of the polls, every single poll. We're leading in every state. We're even leading in the state, or as you would say, the Commonwealth of Virginia. No, we're leading in the Commonwealth, and I'm glad I corrected that, right? If I didn't correct it, well, they'll put it on tonight. They'll have it cut just prior to, they'll cut it just prior to. No, the Commonwealth is great, but we're leading, and it could be a very substantial lead, but we have one poll with 2 up, another one with 3 up, another one with 4 up, one we're even, but that was a very Democrat poll. I don't believe that.
Thanks, Kelly.
But we're going to make Virginia greater than ever before. I hope you get out and do this, because these people are destroying our country. As you saw last night, it's all coming straight from Crooked Joe himself because he thinks it's the only way that he can win. All of this persecution of people, it's all coming from Joe Biden and his thugs, because I'm not even sure he knows what the hell's going on. But he's surrounded by vicious thugs. He's surrounded by fascists and communists. But since the show trial in New York, my poll numbers have increased so substantially, nobody's seen anything like it. And I think last night will not detract from that. And fundraising, as I said, is at an all-time high. The radical left Democrats rigged the presidential election in 200. Think of this. They rigged the election in 2020 like nobody's ever seen before. And we're not going to allow them to rig the presidential election in 2024. We're not going to allow it to happen. And every time the radical left Democrats, Marxists, communists, and fascists, every time they indict me, I consider it a great badge of honor because I'm being indicted for you. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Never forget, our enemies want to take away my freedom because I will never let them take away your freedom. They want to silence me because I will never let them silence you. And in the end, they're not after me. They're after you. I just happen to be standing in their way, and I always will. So we're thrilled to be joined today by many outstanding Virginia patriots, great people, including the next senator from the Commonwealth of Virginia, Hung Cao. He's going to be, I think he's going to be great. You're going to win. What do you think? Is he going to win, Glenn? You're going to help him? We got to help. Hey, Glenn, should we have him come up for a second? Come on up. We got to get him to win. Because let me tell you, his opponent is terrible. He's just terrible. Hung is a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy, and he served with special operations in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Somalia. He was one of the most brave guys. They talk about it. He's become a legend, and that's why he's running. And now he's running to fight for the hardworking people of Virginia. Youngkin will vote to secure our borders, stop Joe Biden's inflation nightmare, and crack down on violent crime. He will vote for low taxes, low regulations, and low energy prices. And he is a warrior. He'll support our police and our veterans. And most importantly, Youngkin will defeat a terrible senator, a man who's got very little respect in Washington, D.C. His name is Tim Kaine. Nobody respects him. They call him a walking mat. He votes for anything Biden wants. He's got a 100% record of voting for Crooked Joe. Tim Kaine has voted repeatedly to continue Joe Biden's border invasion. I don't know how you people, this is killing you, and yet this guy votes all the time to keep it going. Tim Kaine. Let the people pour into our country, even if they're criminals, even if they're mental patients. He voted to protect deadly sanctuary cities. He voted for the largest proposed amnesty plan and tax plan in American history. He voted against Kate's Law to, think of that, how do you vote against Kate's Law? And he voted to terminate Title 42. He voted to give illegal aliens taxpayer-funded benefits, the likes of which nobody has ever seen, including our great veterans. Virginia cannot afford 6 more years of Tim Kaine and his open borders agenda. Everybody's got to get out and vote for Youngkin. I love this name. He is really going to be great. Hung, say a few words, please.
Mr. President, the only person better off today than they were 4 years ago is an illegal alien. We're going to fight for America. We're going to put Americans first, like we always have, with your leadership, sir.
Go get him. Yes, sir. Telling you.
All right, brother.
He's going to win. Man, that guy he's got a serious handshake. Well, I'm sorry, but I think my hand may be broken. He's a tough cookie. That's a serious handshake you have. Thank you. You're going to win. You're going to win. A lot of people are going to win that nobody's thinking of. And, it's amazing what's happening. What's happening is really amazing. But this is a guy who's going to win. And you're going to be proud of him for many, many years. We're also grateful to be joined by the governor of this magnificent Commonwealth. His name happens to be Glenn Youngkin, and he's one of the greatest governors in the country. And I know he just spoke, but I'd love to have him come up and say a few additional words. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Here we go.
Vice President!
Okay, Virginia, are you ready to win? Mr. President, this is the best Trump rally that you have ever had, and you're doing it in Virginia. And yes, on behalf of 8.7 million Virginians, Mr. President, we are going to go to work and get you back in the White House.
That's it?
He really is. He's a great governor doing an incredible job, and we appreciate it. He's also a tall governor, very tall governor. The only one I know taller is my son, Barrett. That kid is tall. And he's a good boy, and he sees this country, and it distresses him when he sees what's happening at a young age. People understand. Smart people understand. But I want to thank the governor for the great job he's done in the Commonwealth. It's done an incredible job, and everybody's talking about it too. Thanks as well to Virginia Attorney General Jason Mears. Jason Mears. Where's Jason? Come on, Jason, let's go. What the hell is a Friday? Come on. Come on, Jason. I hear great things. All I know is Glenn tells me he's doing a great job as Attorney General. I don't have to hear anymore. That's the one that matters. Come on, Jason.
Well, I first, as the Attorney General, as a top law enforcement official in the Commonwealth, I have to say, Mr. President, after seeing last night's debate, I instructed my adult abuse investigators to investigate the DNC for forcing Joe Biden to run for president. But when we talk about what's at stake at this election, it's three simple initials. USA.
Thank you, Mr. Attorney General. Is everybody having a good time? So one of the great congressmen, a person who knows more about our military, I think, than maybe anybody, he's from a wonderful state known as Florida, and he's highly respected by everybody he knows, just a real professional, and he hates seeing what he's seeing because he sees our country, a nation in decline is what he sees, and it's very sad to watch, but we're going to turn it around. Congressman Michael Waltz. Thank you, Michael. Great job. And Michael would agree that Congresswoman Jen Kiggins is a fantastic talent, a fantastic woman. Where is she? She is doing a great job. Thank you very much, Jen. Thank you. Great job. Everyone tells me, look, Secret Service won't let her up. Secret Service, they're tough. They don't play games. Thank you very much, Jen. We appreciate it. Thank you.
Wow, I wonder if they got a threat.
A man who was treated very unfairly by the thugs, the same thugs that we're going to dethrone, like a deranged Jack Smith. He's a deranged person. How's he doing? I don't think he's doing so well. He's a deranged person. But he gave a man named Bob McDonnell, your former governor, he gave him a very unfair, they all did, they gave him a very unfair treatment. But Bob has done incredibly well. He went through it, and he's a great guy. Former Governor Bob McDonnell. Thank you very much. The deranged one we have. You're not a fan? You're not a fan of those guys, right, Bob? And now Bob showed them for what they are. Former governor and a really wonderful senator and a good guy and a friend of mine, George Allen. George, thank you. Thank you, George. I knew his father very well, and his father was a great coach. He was really a good coach. He knew how to win, right? He knew how to win. Former Governor Jim Gilmore. Jim, thank you. Thank you, Jim. Congressional nominees, Lori Buckout. Lori, thank you. Good luck. Oh, you're going to do well. You're scheduled to win. They have you down. Another one scheduled to win, Derek Anderson. Good. You're going to do great. We're going to get it. He's running against one of the Vindman twins. Vindman, is that correct? The Vindman twins, these are the worst people. You got to win that race, Derek. They are the worst people. They reported a false conversation. They made up a story about a certain conversation that was false. And they act like they're hot stuff. They're not. All they have to do is look in the mirror and they'll realize. And look at this guy. He's like a movie star, right? Look at this guy. No, the brothers, they're twins. And I heard one is worse than the other. I think you're running against the worst one. We're going to fight for you. You got to win that race. You got to teach the Vindmans. We got to get them out. And another man who started a little bit down to somebody, I won't mention his name. I will not mention his name. Bob Good, I won't mention his name. And Bob Good was terrible to me for 3 years. And I used to say, who is this guy? And then for the last 6 months, he was great. But I couldn't forget the 3 years, so I had to make a decision. And we had a man named John McGuire, who was a Navy SEAL. And, you know, I know a lot of tough guys, and they wanted to be Navy SEALs. It was their dream to be a Navy SEAL. That's all they thought about. And in many cases, like sons of friends of mine, they want to be a Navy SEAL. They couldn't get there. It's a very tough thing to do. It's really tough. Guys at the perfect physical specimens, everything great, and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. And this guy is a full-fledged Navy SEAL at the highest level. And he beat an opponent who was a leader, a big leader in the House, a Republican leader. And Bob Maguire, you're going to have a great race. You're going to win, and you are a hero. Thank you very much. That was amazing. That was amazing. It was an honor to endorse him. You know, he started off, not a lot of people knew him. I endorsed him, and he went up 27 points. And he ended up winning by, like, doesn't matter, a few hundred votes. We'll take it. Doesn't matter. 2 votes is okay, too. What a great campaign you ran. Congratulations. He's a Navy SEAL. Thank you very much, John. John Maguire, everybody. And also a man who's a tough cookie, and he's doing a great job. Virginia GOP Chair, Rich Anderson. He says we're going to win. Rich, thank you. Are we going to win, right? We got to win. Oh, by the way, we win Virginia, the race is over. You understand that? So I don't want to put any pressure on Randy and on Glenn and on everybody else, but we win Virginia, you know, it's over. It's over. I saw that today. They said if he wins Virginia on top of everything else, it's over. And former Congressman, good guy, Randy Forbes. Randy, thank you. Thank you. You look good. Thank you, Randy. Above all, because we are near so many military facilities, I want to salute every single U.S. service member and veteran in the audience today. We have the highest rating with the veterans of any president. Thank you. So let's have a big round of applause for the men and women of the United States Armed Forces. Under the Trump administration, we fully rebuilt the U.S. military, and we created Space Force. We totally defeated the ISIS territorial caliphate 100%. We did it in 4 weeks. They said it was going to take 5 years. We extinguished the founder and leader of ISIS, al-Baghdadi. We terminated the worst top terrorist, Qasem Soleimani. These are the 2 top terrorists in the world. We left Iran weak and broke and begging to make a deal. They wanted to make a deal so badly. We would have made a deal. We would have made a good deal for them. But then we had the rigged election, and now we have an incompetent president. We stood with our friends and ally in the state of Israel. We recognized Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. And we recognized Israeli sovereignty over the Golan Heights, something they were trying to do for 70 years. And with the Abraham Accords, we made peace in the Middle East at a level that nobody has ever seen, the Abraham Accords. We had Russia, China, and North Korea in check, and I was the first president in decades who started no new wars. Instead, I brought our troops back home. We brought them all back home. If I was president, the war in Ukraine would never have happened. The October 7th attack on Israel would never have happened. The Russian nuclear submarines would not be circling Cuba 60 miles off our Miami coast. Think of it. We have Russian submarines circling Cuba, and the fake news media doesn't want to talk about it. If you were president, they'd be calling for your indictment. If Bob was president, but you could handle it, you've proven that. If anybody was president that was a Republican, they don't even talk about it. Think of it. We have Russian submarines and Russian warships in Cuba, and Cuba's right next to Miami, in case you don't know. Can you imagine? And the fake news media, those people right there with all those cameras, they don't want to talk about it. For our great
and they're firing test missiles, actually firing test missiles off the coast of Florida. They said were
impossible to get past. And while Joe Biden pretends to be a defender of veterans, Crooked Joe has tried to rehire the sadists who mistreated our great. You know, we fired 9,000 people out of the VA because they were sadistic, they were sadists, they were hurting our veterans, they were thieves, they were crooks, they were bullies. We fired 9,000. Biden now wants to hire them all back. He's trying to reinstate 5,000 poorly performing VA. These are all people that I fired, VA employees that I fired, and give them back full pay. We fired them because they were sadists and they were bullies and they were hurting people that weren't in prime time. It'll cost us $200 million in back pay. This is what he wants. He wants to put the thugs back into the VA. And people are not happy. On day one of my new administration, I will fully restore the use of VA accountability and direct my Secretary of Veterans Affairs. And by the way, all this stuff passed Congress. I got to pass Congress. Wasn't just an executive order. And direct my Secretary of Veterans Affairs, my last one did a great job, to fire every corrupt abuser of our veterans who Joe Biden wants to keep on the payroll, wants to have them back. As Commander-in-Chief, I will defend our military, I will always honor our veterans, and I will restore peace through strength. Before I even arrive at the Oval Office, shortly after we win the presidency, we win the presidency, I will have the horrible war between Russia and Ukraine totally settled. I know a good guy who could settle it. That guy right there, Glenn. He would settle it. He did some pretty tough deals. You have good experience for settling. Yesterday's debate should make it clearer than ever how important it is to elect a competent president who will prevent World War III. I'm the only one that can say it. I know every one of those players, and they respect us. In my next term, we will build a great iron dome over our country, a dome the likes of which no one has ever seen before, a state-of-the-art missile defense shield that will be entirely built and made in the USA. And largely in the Commonwealth of Virginia. A lot of is expected to be done right here in Virginia. You know, Israel has a dome, but we have technology. Ronald Reagan wanted it to happen years ago, but we didn't have the technology, in all fairness, then. But he wanted it. But now we have incredible technology. As you know, 300 missiles were recently shot at Israel, and 299 were knocked down, and one was basically disabled. So they stopped 300 missiles from going into Israel, and we were going to have a better dome, a more technologically capable dome, and we're going to build a great dome over this country because we deserve it. We deserve it. Despite Joe Biden's flagrant lies on the debate stage, I will not cut one penny from Social Security or Medicare, which is what he is going to do. He's destroying Social Security. I kept that promise for 4 straight years, and I'll keep it again. Remember, I didn't increase. I didn't do. You know, they talk about Russia. Russia, under Bush, took land. Russia, under Obama, took land. Russia, under Biden, is going to take the whole thing, it looks like. Russia, under Trump, took nothing. They took nothing. It's true. It's true. Pinocchio Joe lied about all the things that I did to preserve Social Security. He's going to destroy Social Security by allowing all of these people in and using it. Remember that, Congressman. You got to stop him. And even his lies about now the inexpensive insulin. So I was the one that got you the inexpensive, not him. That was done 3 years ago. And the sad thing, it came due 2 years later. And I said, you mean if I lose this race? That was at the time. The new president's going to get credit. And he goes around talking about how he did insulin. I did the insulin. Where the seniors get insulin at a very low price. By contrast, Joe Biden has cut Medicare Advantage payments for 2 straight years, a total betrayal to our seniors. Biden has cut Advantage payments. We're going to rebuild our cities into beacons of hope, safety, and beauty better than they have ever been before. We will take our horribly run capital of our nation in Washington, D.C., and clean it up, renovate it, and rebuild a capital the likes of which that even we haven't seen in its prime. We will get rid of the murder and the crime. You go from Virginia to take a tour of the Capitol, look at the great monuments and all, you end up getting shot, mugged, knifed. We're going to clean it up and we're going to get rid of all the crime. There's not going to be any crime. On day one, I will sign a new executive order to cut federal funding for any school pushing critical race theory, transgender insanity, and any other inappropriate racial, sexual, or political content onto the shoulders of our children. And I will not give one penny to any school that has a vaccine mandate or a mask mandate. And I will keep men out of women's sports. And fully uphold, of course, the totally under siege Second Amendment. We will protect innocent life, and we will restore free speech, and I will secure our elections like never before. Our elections will be one-day voting with paper ballots, proof of citizenship, and voter ID. Very simple. But until then, Republicans must win. We're going to count on Virginia more than just about any place else. We're so close. This would be an incredible historic victory. We want a landslide that's, and remember this term, too big to rig. We want a landslide that's too big to rig. If it's too big to rig, if it's too big, they can't rig it. They're going to try. They're bad. They have no shame. If you took the 10 worst presidents in the history of the United States and added them up, they would not have done the near, think of it, they wouldn't have done near the destruction to our country as Joe Biden and the Biden administration has done. So if you want to save America, go out, get your family, get your friends, get everyone you know, and vote. Vote early, vote absentee, vote on election day. But whatever you do, you have to go out and vote. You have to vote. And if you want us to help ensure election integrity, sign up to Protect the Vote. It's very simple. Get out and help us. ProtectTheVote.com. Very simple. Protect, because we don't need votes. We need protection of the votes once they're cast, because these people will do anything to stay in power. So ProtectTheVote.com. Help us protect the vote. We're going to protect it. And we have law enforcement. Every law enforcement agency in Virginia and every other place has endorsed us. They're going to all be watching. From Fredericksburg to Williamsburg, from Alexandria to Norfolk, and from Roanoke to Richmond, to right here in Chesapeake, Virginia. It's been the home of some of the greatest American heroes ever to walk the face of the earth. This is the place where George Washington led the patriots of the Continental Army to victory at Yorktown. What a history you have. Virginia was the home of Thomas Jefferson, who wrote those immortal words, "All men are created equal." And Virginia gave us James Madison, James Monroe, Lewis and Clark, Booker T. Washington, Ella Fitzgerald, the Bedford Boys who gave their lives on D-Day, and Patrick Henry, who declared, "Give me liberty or give me death." Pretty good. That's a pretty good history. That's not bad. You know, I stop at a lot of states. They don't quite have a lot of that, right, Governor? Together, they helped build America into the greatest and most exceptional nation in the history of the world. But now we are a nation that is in serious decline. We are a failing nation. Very sad thing to say. We are a nation that has lost its confidence, willpower, and strength. We are a nation that has, quite honestly, lost its way. But we are not going to allow this horror to continue. Less than 4 years ago, we were a great nation, and we will soon be a great nation again. With the right leadership, every disaster Joe Biden has created can be fixed, and can be fixed really very, very quickly, and we will get it done fast. Every problem can be solved, and every wrong can be rectified. By this time next year, America's borders will be strong, sealed, and secure. Inflation will be in full retreat. Our economy will be roaring back. Optimism will be surging. The American dream will be thriving again for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. Law and justice will reign all throughout our land. Freedom will be restored. The flame of liberty will be burning bright. Joe Biden, the worst president in the history of our country, will be a fading memory of the past, and our great silent majority, including the once forgotten men and women of our country, will be the ones shaping America's magnificent future when I am the 47th president of the United States. because we are all Americans, and together we will show November 5th to be the most important day in the history of America. We are one movement, one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. And together we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. We will make America free again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much, Virginia. God bless you all. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, so he got on stage at, he was an hour late, scheduled to talk at 3, got on stage at like about 4:15. So again, about an hour and a half that he went into, that he was able to do his speech. Wow, my voice is cracking from all the talking the last 2 days. 1 second. Okay, now that I got that frog out of my throat, I can talk again. I just wanted to say something about the empty seats. I had gotten a notification that it was extremely hot. There were 28,000 people there or so. Obviously, he was an hour late getting on stage, so yeah, some people had to leave. But you know what? I don't really care what the media says anymore. You shouldn't care what the media says anymore. I have a video that I'm going to post at 6:30. See if you can come back and watch that video. It's not going to be a live video, but just see if you can watch it. Basically, it outlines the crap that the media has done for the last 3 years, and that at this point, they are irrelevant. They can't save Joe. They're done. They're toast. Yesterday, that debate took 2 scalps. Sorry. Don't mean to offend anybody. Took 2 victims. Dementia Joe, done, and it took the media out. It took them completely out. I explain it more in my video that goes up at about 6:30. But trust me, I don't care what the media says anymore. Nobody should care what the media says anymore. They have no more relevance. They were found out yesterday. Their epic gaslighting that they've been doing over and over for years now, propping up Dementia Joe, trying to let us know he's okay. Behind the scenes, this guy is powerful. He's sharp. They lied. It's all BS. Complete BS. Dementia Joe was exposed, but so was the media. Everything about the left. At this point, I don't want to give away too much of my video, but one of the things I bring up in the video is at this point, they have basically been exposed so badly that the left, the Democratic Party, no longer deserves to be in any sort of power. They need to be eradicated. They need to be just completely erased from the political spectrum. We have seen them perpetrate a fraud upon America for 3 years now. Biden is not the type of guy who can be running this country. To me, it's almost treasonous. Who's running this country at this point? Who actually is in charge? It's not that guy that was on stage last night. It wasn't that guy who was talking in North Carolina and pounding the podium and screaming. There's no way he's in charge. And I show you something in the video at 6:30 that completely underscores and validates everything I'm saying right now. And what I mean by that is, when you see what's in this video, you will realize yourself the media is nothing but holding water, gaslighting, lying, doing whatever they can do to just prop up Dementia Joe. There's in my experience with, in my experience in advertising, I know there's a ton of money laundering going on. They raise the money from the big money people. They cut a check to the television station. The television station says nice things about you because you keep paying them. if you're cutting a $20 million check to NBC or CBS or CNN, then of course they're going to talk well about you. They don't want to piss off their biggest client. At this point, the network's biggest client is the Democratic Party. That's why Trump doesn't spend too much on television. He doesn't need to. Pay employees, do the long game, get people boots on the ground, do stuff like that. So it's crazy. So 6:30, I'm going to get out of here because my voice is cracking like a nut here. Damn. Usually I've got like Diet Coke in here. Right now I've got tea. It was hot tea. The hot tea is now cold because Trump talked for that long. But thanks, guys. Thanks for tuning in 2 nights in a row. 6:30 video goes up. Take a look at it. I'm going to go drink some more hot tea. Thank you guys for tuning in. Carla Head, I hope you saw my message. Give me a text. Talk to you guys soon. Probably as soon as tomorrow. I'll probably get some rest tonight. Drink some more tea and honey. Get my voice back normal. Somebody said, hope you feel better. No, I'm fine. I'm not. I don't feel sick. I mean, it sounds a little bit nasally, and that's only because of my voice and throat. I probably exhausted my vocal cords from talking so much. But other than that, I feel fine. So don't worry about it. I'll be here. I'll be pumping out some content. Thank you very, 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 very much for tuning in. Thank you for all the super chats, every single one of you. Thank you for the mods, Creative and Tommy. Thank you guys for watching out for the stream. And thank you all for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I know you've got a lot of opportunities, a lot of choices, a lot of variety out there, but you guys keep coming back, and that makes me want to basically push through things like my voice going crazy. So Yogi Tea, somebody tells me. What is Yogi Tea? I'll have to check that out. Yogi Tea. All right, everybody. Let me stop talking and go do some gargling and stuff. But I'll talk to you soon.